ESPN, celebrating our 10th season as your home for Major League Baseball.
Time for Wednesday Night Baseball on ESPN. El Duque and the hot-hitting Derek Jeter ride into Texas to take on Rafael Palmeiro, Pudge Rodriguez, and the rest of the red-hot Texas Ranger offense. Also, Jason Kendall and the Pirates go to Atlanta. They have to deal with the slick fielding, hot-hitting Brian Jordan and the Braves. David Wells and the Blue Jays look to lower the boom on Mo Vaughn and the Angels. And the brothers Alomar lead the Indians against the A's. It's all coming up next. It's a beautiful night for baseball in Texas. Juan Gonzalez, 3 Ks and 5 at-bats lifetime against Orlando Hernandez. 1 home run for his effort so far this season. Meantime, Tom Glavine getting set to try to get things straight. 4 starts, 3 losses for last year's Cy Young winner. He will go against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Welcome, everyone, to our Wednesday Night Baseball studios. I'm Carl Ravitch. Be here all night. Plenty of games. In fact, 1 doubleheader already underway. Let's get right to the scoreboard and give you an update. Tampa Bay and the White Sox. Chicago in game 1 of 2, up 8-7. Frank Thomas has hit his 3rd home run. The Royals already on top of the Orioles, 3-zip. Juan Guzman, 2 wild pitches and a balk in this one to dig himself a hole. The Cubs down 1-zip to the Marlins. Mark Kotsay, an RBI sac fly, the difference so far in that one. The Dodgers, Chan Ho Park, coming off that game in which he gave up 2 grand slams in the same inning, already down 1-0 to the Brewers in the bottom of the 1st inning. The Expos on top of the Giants, 2-zip. That one has gone to the top of the 2nd. Dustin Hermanson has been outstanding this year. And the Phillies on top of the Reds, 4-zip. The Phillies now in 2nd place in the National League East. Padres and the Mets, it was 1-zip. John Olerud has taken Sterling Hitchcock out of the building. Hitchcock had allowed lefties hit 167 against him, but he is now tied 1-1 in the top of the 2nd inning. So that is the situation here from our studios. We'll be here all night. You enjoy your games. We'll keep you up to date with the highlights as they happen. I'm Carl Ravitch. Now out to the ballparks.
ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball is brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, who reminds you the 3 most important words are, hey, Berman. And by 989 Sports, the makers of MLB 2000.
For late April, a matchup, a rematch of the divisional series last year between the world champion New York Yankees and the AOS champion Texas Rangers. Hello once again, everybody. I'm Chris Berman. Well, the draft is over. We get to do Wednesday baseball, and we're excited about it. We're excited to see these New York Yankees who swept their pursuers in the AL East Toronto over the weekend, and last night came from behind 5 runs down to beat Texas here 7-6. And part of the reason they're doing all this, the top of the order. In his 2nd year as a Yankee, Chuck Newkid's on Knobloch is hitting almost 100 points better than he did last year. He's the player they thought they got from the Twins. And what hasn't Derek Jeter done? Leads the majors in batting average. He went 2 for 5 last night, and his average came down to 414. Working with me tonight is Ray Knight, and Ray, at the top of the order. Hey, look, I know 125 wins. But the top of the order hits like this, they could be even better, don't you think?
Oh, there's no question about it. Last year, these 2 men produced 392 runs. That's unbelievable. Right now, Derek Jeter's on a going toward hitting 45 home runs and driving in 135. So that's pretty unbelievable.
Hey, the Texas Rangers swept last year by the Yankees, 0-3 against the Yankees this year, beaten in the 96 playoffs. I mean, are the Yankees a hex for them? I mean, can a ball club think like that?
I don't think the Yankees are a hex to the ball club, Chris. It's just that they're such a great ball club. Johnny Oates, before tonight's game, talking to the press, said that he does not take the season and macro it. It's a micro deal. He has to look at the whole season. Somebody's going to have to beat these New York Yankees in order to win that American League West, American League Division. He thinks his club can do it, but they better start doing something now.
Well, they're scratching their heads after last night, and Don Zimmer's lineup tonight for the New York Yankees. Knobloch and Jeter at the top. Paul O'Neill, who had the tying RBI last night, also had a home run earlier in the game. Bernie Williams is in center field. Tina Martinez at first base. Chili Davis, who is 2nd in the American League with 20 RBIs. Jorge Posada will catch tonight at 7th. Chad Curtis homered last night hitting 8th. And Scott Brocious one more day from coming off the DL. So Luis Sojo in the rain is your 3rd baseman. And they will face the sinker baller, last year's Chicago Cub, making his 5th start this year for the Texas Rangers, Mark Clark.
Yeah, Mark Clark there, you see 1 and 2, 8.14 last year. Struggled with 9 and 14 with the Cubs.
Oh, an ice cream cone at first base by Lee Stevens off a nice stop on the smash by Todd Zeal. And one pitch, boy, Knobloch wanted to jump on it, but Zeal and Stevens were there. And they turned made a pretty play last night as well, with both Zeal making a circus stop like that and Stevens making a nice scoop. So here's Mark Clark, and Ray, 27 hits in 21 innings. His first good start with the Rangers was his last start on Friday against Minnesota, a series the Rangers swept.
Well, talking to the Rangers, his Ranger teammates and knowing him from the National League, he's got to be very fine. He throws about 84, 85. Sinker, slider, split finger. And his split finger is probably his best pitch. But he does not overpower you. He's not going to miss a lot of bats. As you saw, only 12 strikeouts in 21 innings, 27 base hits. Has to keep the ball down in order to be effective.
Look at Derek Jeter continuing to powder the ball to left center field over quickly to cut that off is Tom Goodwin to prevent it from possibly being extra bases. And Derek Jeter, 2 for 5 last night, already has a base hit. It's hard to have an April better than Derek Jeter has had with the power and certainly with the average.
Texas Ranger defense, pretty much the same. Lee Stevens playing first base for Rafael Palmeira, who has that knee that has some fluid on it. Gives him a lot of trouble there. Ivan Rodriguez, only 1 stolen base against him this year. Led the American League or all of baseball last year and throwing out base runners. Over 58% caught stealing.
So that'll bring up Paul O'Neill. 3 for 5, including a home run last night. We told you about the tying RBI in the 9th inning. And Clark begins him a little outside for a ball. O'Neill was in a big slump, was 3 for his last 31 until last night. I talked with him before the game, Ray. He said, I watched Knobloch and I watched Jeter at the top of the lineup, and they're embarrassing me. I got to get going here. So he did last night. He'll be at 300 before long. He always is. But just a real different feel. Not that Derek Jeter is necessarily miles different from last year. You can't draw conclusions on 2, 3.5 weeks, Ray, obviously. But Knobloch was going to have a much better year at the plate. And it just gives a different feel at the top of the lineup. Jeter leads off first, and Clark with a 2-0 pitch to O'Neill, and he'll foul it away.
Well, I think it's a progression with young players, and Derek Jeter has gotten better every year. And they always talk about a young hitter maturing. He starts off getting base hits, choppers, making contact. Then he makes a little better contact. Then he gets stronger, and his singles turn into doubles, his doubles into home runs. And as we mentioned in the open, Derek Jeter on a pace to drive in close to 140 runs and hit 45 home runs. I know he'll be happy hitting 30, and he probably end up in that number, but he's definitely much stronger than he was last year.
Pretty good move by Clark. Jeter was leaning the other way, but scoots back in there.
Quick move right here. He was going, he leaning, almost got caught there leaning. 1 and 2 balls, 1 strike. Really good hit and run type count, but that wasn't a hit and run break there. He was trying to go on the first move, and Mark Clark held it for a second and spun and made it very close.
High and away. 3-1 to Paul O'Neill with Bernie Williams on deck. 5 runs for the Rangers here last night in the first inning off Roger Clemens. It's still 5-0 going into the 5th inning. And the Yankees, a veteran team as they are, they didn't try and make it up all at once. They chipped away, they chipped away, they chipped away. And
well, that's confidence, and they've done that so many times. 5 runs is really not that much when you have 27 outs left. And this Yankee ball club just has so much talent. They have so much confidence. We talked about it. We talk about it to you blue in the face sometimes about how good they are. But they do not. I think their strongest attribute is their mental toughness and the belief that they can come back.
Full count now to Paul O'Neill here in the top of the first. A little late arriving crowd because of the 6:30 Central Time start to do this game, so that maybe some really not aware, but it really, while school is in, I mean, a lot of the guys on the team and the people in the community say, it's nice to have an occasional 6:30 start on a school night here. And They had 42,000 last night to see Clemens. I don't know if they'll quite get that tonight, but believe me, what you see now in about an hour will be a lot more filled. The Yankees are in town. Everybody knows. Jeter running. Shot is right to McLemore. And this will just be the official underhand flip to Lee Stevens. So Neal hit it well, but he hits into a double play. We're heading to the bottom of the first here in Arlington. No score. Bottom of the first here at the ballpark in Arlington. Johnny Oates, the only manager to lead the Texas Rangers into the postseason. Did it in 96, did it in 98 last year. The problem, both occasions in the way were the New York Yankees. In 96, it was a fabulous 4-game series. Won by the Yankees 3 games to 1. And of course, last year, 3 tight games, all won by the Yankees. And Oates says, we know we're good, but we just got to do something to beat the Yankees to convince ourselves. He's hoping tonight they get started with this lineup. Tom Goodwin in center field. Mark McLemore, second base. Rusty Greer in left. Juan Going Gonzalez. Only 1 homer thus far in right field. Return to home is Rafael Emerson Lake and Palmeiro at DH. Pudge Rodriguez hitting 6th. Todd Good housekeeping zeal 7th at third base. Lee Cat Stevens with 7 home runs, second in the AL. What a boon he's been in the 8th spot. And Royce Aroni Clayton, the one-time San Francisco treat, is our shortstop hitting 9th against El Duque. Orlando Hernandez with the high Sox, with the good stuff, and the 3-1 start for the Yankees, Ray.
Well, you say good stuff. I say great stuff. Their 4.13, 3.9 earned run average is not really indicative, but they're just 17 hits, 26 and 2/3, 29 strikeouts. He has about 6 different pitches, Chris. He has a fastball, 88 to 90, 91, that he rides in the strike zone. He can cut it. He can sink it. He throws it 3 or 4 different angles. He has a changeup, a curveball, and a slider.
Goodwin, backhand at first base by Tino Martinez. 1 up, 1 down in the Texas first.
Yankees defense, that revolving door out there in left field. Chad Curtis playing out there tonight. Ricky Ledee and Shane Spencer has had their opportunity out there. Darryl Strawberry, we all know his situation. And Curtis, nobody really taking the lead in Zim before the game, so he's just putting people out there hoping somebody will take over that slot.
Curtis hit a homer last night. And that's something we can talk about. Because the bottom part of the Yankee order, for as much as the improvement has been at the top, it's been a big fall off at the bottom of the order. But this Texas team can certainly mash. And Mark McLemore looks at that pitch up top. It's 1-1. McLemore has been a favorite of manager Johnny Oates. He had him in Baltimore when Oates managed there earlier in this decade. A couple good years for Oates. The Orioles, remember, they had the new excitement when they got to the new ballpark. They started to be a contender a little bit. And Oates came over here in the 95 season and made sure McLemore wasn't far behind. And Texas won the division in 96. McLemore at 290. And last year he drove in 53 runs despite being hurt a lot of the season for Oates, as the Rangers won the AL West again. Rip foot foul. McLemore's a spark plug type guy. I think he's been an overlooked key in the Rangers winning a couple times the last few years.
I think he's kind of overlooked overall in the baseball scouting and the evaluation situation with him. He's the guy that can run. He plays solid defense. He turns a double play, and he plays every day. Last year he was hurt. I'm talking about when you get a muscle pull or something that keeps you out for 3 weeks and you go on a DL. But he's not the type of player that's not going to suit up for you with these small things. And that's why Johnny Oates likes him. He sets the table for this ball club. He's got some power, and he's always happy. That's the thing about it. He's always happy.
So they're the guys he sets the tables for. Palmeiro and Gonzalez. El Duque has gone a full count here on McLemore. You know, he's tough. He was a defensive back in high school in San Diego, Mark McLemore. So you're right. He will play with a little injuries. Hits this pretty well to center field. Gets under it a little bit, and so does Bernie Williams. Squeezes it, and there are 2 down.
I don't know that this would be maybe a little bit too much challenge for me. Look how high his knee. It almost hits him in his left earlobe. Comes up there, rides that fastball up in the strike zone. But watch it again. You think I'm kidding? It comes up there at least near his lips. It gets that thing up there and lets it fly. Yeah, that gives you a lot of things to look at when...
That's quite an athletic motion. Rusty Greer, the left fielder, is on the left. Wow. You know, who had not kicks like that? I'm not talking to Marichal, but who did you face that had a big athletic? Vida Blue comes to mind as a big athletic motion with the leg. As Greer pops this one to behind second base. Knobloch is there. We'll ponder that question. I'll give you 2 minutes to think about it, and we'll be back. We have played one here in Arlington. No score between the... Back here in Texas in the top of the second inning. And, well, the knee is on ice, El Duque, huh, Ray?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Watch him right here. As he comes up here, separates his hand, go way down. Look at that right there. I know he can't see the catcher there, but you don't know where to really focus. Most hitters focus out there in kind of a cone area or make a square right out over the pitcher's shoulder. But when you get all that other stuff coming at you, it makes it difficult to time it.
Warren Spahn had a big knee action. Dennis Eckersley, you never quite hit off Warren Spahn, did you, Ray?
No, I missed him. Gene Garber turned his back to you. I remember Lynn Barker had a really hitching his giddy up when he'd come back really slow and then jump at you.
But this is a fluid kick. This isn't a weird motion. Vida Blue just comes to mind as a fluid but real athletic type.
I tell you,
motion.
Nolan Ryan brought his leg up a lot higher than people thought. He brought that leg straight up to his chest, but he got it up there pretty good.
Bernie Williams lays off this pitch for Mark Clark as he leads off the Yankees second inning, which had his 2-0. And Nolan Ryan, you know, there's 20 pages in the media guide. As Nolan, of course, not a lot of suspense that he got elected to Cooperstown, and we'll go in. What a great class this will be. 20 pages in the media guide on Nolan Ryan. I was looking for some of it today, and it's just like a history of baseball almost. As Williams rounds out McLemore to Lee Stevens, all the no-hitters, and it lists every guy that he ever struck out with. I think Claudell Washington, 39, was the most, but I mean, God, how many 300 strikeout seasons he had. And,
well, Nolan,
it was fun reading.
Nolan, I got to play with him in Houston and against him for 6 other years in the National League, and he was my favorite teammate, barring no one. He and Tom Seaver had the best work ethic for what they had accomplished, and while they were accomplishing it, they were never offendish, always willing to help young players, just solid people. When I played with Nolan and actually put on the bench in 1982, he kind of took me under his wing, and I was 30 years old and had me go run with him in the outfield just to get the frustration.
He needed to. He needed to take you under his wing.
He needed to. I mean, I'm 30 years old, but I was upset because I had been benched, and he just took a lot of time with me.
Well, that's why he's a Hall of Famer, Ray. One of the many reasons, as you know better than the rest of us, having played with him. Constantino Martinez is 1-2. You know, only 2 RBIs in his last 14 games. He never had a streak like that at any point last season. So I know it's only, you know, a couple of weeks, and here's a shot to right field. Back it goes to right. Gonzalez is back at the fence. It's gone!
What were you going to say about that streak?
What I was going to say is, you know, it's only a couple of weeks, and don't get excited. Tito Martinez has gone yard off Mark Clark. 1-0 Yankees, his second of the year. And, you know, well, let's look at the pitch. It just didn't do anything, did it?
It didn't do a whole lot. It certainly didn't sink, and it started up too high in order to be out of that red hit zone. And actually, the ball was out over the plate, on the outside part of the plate, and Martinez jerked it. But these big men have such great extension now, and they keep that front shoulder so tight, with the ball away, they can pull down the right field line at the right, straightaway right field.
Here's the switch hitting DH. Billy Davis is Tino on the... Hey, I saw him before the game, and he said, well, things are going good. I know I'm swinging slow, but he was happy to see us. He won the home run derby when we show up. He always hits homers when we show up. He says, if you're here, things will be all right. Well, that ball didn't do a lot for Mark Clark, except be deposited about 375 feet over the fence. The Yankees have out-homered their opponents now 24-11 among the other stats that they keep the pedal to the metal. You saw Chili's numbers. By the way, the 27th home run allowed by Texas in just the 21st game.
Not very good.
Not good. And I know they got a good offense, but that's a lot of pressure on your offense. Chili hitting it close to 400, and he's 39 years of age. He's been in baseball almost 2 decades. I said, do you feel you're in as good a shape as you have been? He said, yes, I do. And part of the reason that he was driven was, you know, I got a ring last year here with the Yankees. I didn't feel I earned very much of it. Just got under that a little bit. Out goes Clayton in short center field and makes the grab there, 2 down. But Chili said, I have the ring. I love it. I was a member of the team, but I really feel a little guilty about not being able to contribute that much. And boy, he's come back with a vengeance this April, hasn't he, Ray?
He has, and he was one of those guys that was always there, though, on the bench. You know, they talk about Strawberry being somebody that pushed this ball club last year. Chili Davis was always there. Another one of those guys that's very jovial, very positive wherever he's gone. He's just added a brightness to the clubhouse, and he's kind of quietly put together a tremendous career with over 2,300 hits now and over 400 home runs. So Chili's made his mark, definitely.
Chili has been a red-hot chili pepper. Here's a man that has not been. Jorge Posada. Almost on the interstate, which is a bad thing, but maybe a little pressure on him this year because he's pretty much been handed the 2/3 of the regular Yankees catching job, and he's put maybe a little pressure on himself to do the hitting. He's a good defensive catcher.
Yeah, he is. And, you know, it would seem to me that when you're battling and only playing part-time, that you would have more pressure because there you have Joe Girardi, who has proven that he can catch every day in the big leagues and effectively. But Posada, playing part-time, playing about half the games last year, put together a great year. He's just struggling with his left-handed stroke. Right-handed, he's hitting the ball pretty solid. He's hitting 129 overall and has not yet to get a hit left-hand, which is a strong side. But he's turning off the ball and just really leaving the ball with his right side. People are getting him out, down, and away.
1-2 pitch to Posada. Strike on the inside corner, says Dale Ford. Posada will sit, but the Yankees have a lead. Thanks to Tito Martinez. Forget that cold streak. Off Mark Clark, and the Yankees have a 1-0 lead. We're going to scratch through against El Duque. And Mark Clark served up the solo homer to Tito Martinez with a word from the man in the middle, the mustachioed pitching coach of the Rangers, Dick Bosman, one of the best in the game. Although he has his work cut out for him this year, they really, I mean, as we'll talk about it, Ray, they you know, not like Texas didn't try. They tried to get Roger Clemens, tried to get Randy Johnson. They traded for Stoudemire last year. They were hoping that maybe he would be here. They're a team, despite the fact that Helling won 20 and Seeley won 19 last year, and you know, with good pitchers and deservedly so, without a bona fide number one. But this guy's number one at the plate, the defending MVP of the American League, Juan Gonzalez. But that's going to be something that, you know, Texas will make a move this year, but you know, Dick Bosman in the meantime has his work cut out for him a little bit, right?
Well, he really does. And there's Rick Helling there last year winning 19 ball games for this ball club. And Dick Bosman working with all these pitchers, working with Mark Clark right now to shorten his delivery a little bit, to get him a little more simplified and eliminate some movement. But as you say, Chris, when you start thinking about these Yankees, everybody talks about power and defense, but it all goes back to pitching. And there's nobody in baseball that can match up with the Yankees pitching but the Atlanta Braves. It's the only team that can match up with them. Certainly, Arizona's come a long way with their pitching staff, and there's other good staffs out there. But the Yankees and Atlanta Braves are two staffs that head and heels above everybody else. And so if it goes the way it should go, those two guys would meet up in the World Series.
Long way to go till then. 2-1 pitches up top and outside to Juan Gonzalez, and part of pitching, Ray, as you know better than I do, is not when you got a guy like Juan Gonzalez at the plate. Maybe one of the pitches in a 5 or 6 pitch at bat might be a good one, and so far he's thrown no good ones for Juan. And like he broke his bat a little bit. Bernie Williams coming on, and the ball hangs up for Bernie, and there's 1 out.
He just takes a little bit off of this right here on a pitch away. The ball's off the plate, probably 4 inches, and as you mentioned, Gonzo just extends his strike zone there, expands his strike zone, and that's what a guy like El Duque can do. He just doesn't give in, even though that's 3-1. He threw a perfect pitcher's pitch to a location that a big power hitter can't do anything with. Not too many people can 5 inches off the plate.
His second tour of duty with the Texas Rangers are Rafael Emerson, Lake, and Palmeiro, who even in his years in Baltimore kept his full-time residence here in the Arlington area. So now he truly is back home, and he goes opposite way, but right at Chad Curtis. Hit it pretty well, but 2 fly ball outs in the outfield, 2 down.
Thing too about El Duque is he and all these Yankee pitchers except for Irabu, all of them work quickly. Roger slows down a little bit, but they work quickly. You watch when El Duque gets up there on the mound, the batter's not even in the batter's box, and he's ready to go. And that makes your defense so much more efficient when you get the ball and throw it.
That'll bring up one of our favorite players, Ivan Pudge Rodriguez, who seemingly has been around forever, but is still just 27 years of age. Came up to the Rangers, was called up in 1991 when he was 19. And talk about a complete day. Now there's a line shot to Knobloch, and 3 up, 3 down. The next time up, we'll talk about his complete day in his first day of the majors. 8 pitches, 1-0. Tino Martinez solo home run in the second, lead the Rangers 1-0. Chris Berman along with Ray Knight. So glad you could join us here on Wednesday Night Baseball, as the Yankees will send 8-9-1 against Mark Clark, and that'll be Chad Curtis, Luis Sojo, and then the top of the order again in Chuck Knobloch. You started talking about it, Ray, and you know, here's Posada hitting 7th at barely over 100, although again it's been just 3 weeks. I mean, let's slow down. It's April. I try not to look at a lot of the numbers till Memorial Day almost. You know, you have a better feel. But the left field job, no Tim Raines this year, no Darryl Strawberry this year. You had Chad Curtis, who played such a good job and left last year. Ricky Leday, who was a World Series hero, and Shane Spencer was a September and early October hero. As Zeal grabs this one, and Curtis will sit down. There's 1 out. Let's go to Carl Ravitch.
Hi, Boomer. We go to right field for the Royals. His name's Jermaine Dye. Juan Guzman struggled in the first inning, and now they add to a 3-zip lead as Dye goes to the right center field gap, brings in his 15th run of the year. And the Orioles, who have the league's worst ERA, are in a hole 4-0.
Jermaine live and let die for the Orioles. You know, they may just get on the plane with the Cuban team next week and go down there. I mean, God, they ought to think about it, because that's bad and getting worse. And Ray Miller is too good a baseball man and too nice a person to have that happen. But I don't know. They ought to think about joining the Cubans on May 3rd and getting out of here.
I'm not going to touch that.
No, you're not. Here is Luis Sojo in the rain. Third baseman shows bunt and pulls it back. Sojo playing most of third base, as Scott Brocious is in the 15th and final day of his stay on the DL. By the way, Brocious had a rehab game last night in Tampa, had 1 hit. Rehab game tonight, there's a strike, was canceled due to weather, and will join the team in Texas tomorrow. They'll make a decision when he gets here if he'll come up the DL tomorrow and play third base, or if they're going to wait a couple more days. But he's due back any minute now. Sojo swings and misses at that one. And 2 up, 2 down for Mark Clark here in the third. We'll be back here in Texas for Sunday Night Baseball. And boy, the Cleveland Indians, Tomey, and boy, everybody in the line. Manny Ramirez leads the majors at 28 ribbies against the Texas Rangers, who get out with them as well. So if you like hits, join us for Sunday Night Baseball with John and Joe and Another look at Juan going Gonzalez. That's Sunday night at 8 o'clock. Cleveland and Texas, the Central and the Western winners from last year. Well, the Indians have gotten off to a great start. What a top of the lineup they have, Ray.
Oh,
Robbie Alomar. That's a different field, too. The Indians and the Yankees at the top of their lineup. It's just a different field than the teams that we saw last year, as good as they both were.
Well, Cleveland's much deeper. They're leading the league with a .314 batting average, leading the league in runs scored. They've stolen 17 bases already. And you and I were talking earlier about how they used to be just station to station.
They're fun to watch now. Not that they weren't. Rip at McLemore, and Knobloch is gone. So Clark has a 1-2-3 inning. We head to the bottom of the third in Texas, 1-0 New York. Rangers trying to scratch something through, Ray, against El Duque, and they'll send the bottom of the order. Zeal, Stevens, and Clayton, which for the bottom of the order is not bad.
No, it is not bad. They've got a strong lineup. This whole American League has strong lineups. I mean, when you can put guys like Royce Clayton, who used to lead off, and hit him in the 9-hole, which is, you know, the theory that Billy Martin started, the double lead off in the 9-hole. Hit Lee Stevens, who's second in the league in home runs, 8. Todd Zill, who's hit 4th, hitting 7th. You know that they can generate some offense. There you go, 5 home runs, 13 RBIs from the 7-hole hitter.
So Todd Good Housekeeping Zeal will step in against El Duque. Zeal played for 3 teams, of course, last year. Involved with the Dodger trade to Florida, with the Piazza trade, and was kind of in a holding pattern there. And then after Piazza moved on to the Mets, I mean, he was kind of left holding the bag. I mean, he was there for a couple of months like, what about me? And then came over here to Texas.
Well, he's a player that's a very solid player, and it just seems like teams value him more than his current team. And I got to be kind of like that late in my career, moved around a lot the last 4 or 5 years of my career. Todd Zill, he can hit with power, you know, has driven in 100 runs, plays a solid defense. Came up as a catcher. Joe Torre moved him to third base. Same thing that Joe Torre had happened to him, I think, when Bobby Bragan was a manager of the Braves. Joe came up as a catcher, and they moved him to third base.
Zeal thought he had base on balls. Wow.
Look at this replay here. This ball, he sets up outside. No, that ball's outside. That ball's outside. Outside part of his knee. Ball comes back.
Yeah, nice fought back to a 3-2 count.
Todd Zill has been on 7 teams in the last 4 years. Did you say that, partner?
I didn't get that far. I just had 3 last year. I was moving backwards.
I'm just check the note here.
Oh, he rips this one to right field. Back goes O'Neill. Back, gone! First hit for the Rangers tonight is a touch 'em all. 6th home run for Todd Zeal. And we are tied at 1. That was it on the line.
Yeah, lucky he didn't walk there. They call that pitch a strike. And
yeah. Lee Stevens, a slow bouncer to Knobloch, and 1 is down here in the 3rd. Well, all smiles for Zeal and McLemore and the Rangers. But they just want like enough already, you know?
Look at this right here. Watch the catcher set up outside, and this is what a hitter does. He makes an adjustment. That pitch is outside, goes out there again. Same place, balls up a little bit, bam. That's what happens when you try to make a pitch. You miss with it. Umpire gives you a strike. The hitter puts that in the back of his head, applies, keeping his left shoulder in, and bam, home run.
Just the 2nd homer off El Duque this year in his 5th start. This will bring up Royce Clayton. Royce, who is barely hitting above 100, he says, you know, I have a bad case of the Adams. So what do you mean the Adams? You're getting nuclear on me next? No, I didn't. I've actually been hitting the ball hard. I'm just hitting them at him.
And then that really preys on your mind when you do that. When you hit a lot of balls hard right at people, it starts looking like there's about 12 fielders out there. Then you start changing things. You start trying to bunt the base hit and hit the ball to right field, and everything's going right. You're hitting the ball solid, but they're just catching it. This is just the one game that you could do everything right and not get anything back from it because they have those defensive players out there.
Base hit for Clayton. So he didn't hit him at him. He hit him where they ain't.
Well,
and Royce has a base hit. It's been a real nice day for Royce Clayton, who was the first current ball player to make a donation to the Jackie Robinson Foundation and set up a scholarship fund of $100,000. There's Rachel Robinson there on the right of your screen. Royce's mom, Tony, was here, and actually so was the first recipient of the scholarship, Antoine Brown, a freshman at Washington University. And we honor Jackie Robinson. Royce Clayton honored Jackie Robinson and Rachel Robinson, and what Jackie and his bride have stood for over the years. And that was a great, what a gesture, a great move by Royce Clayton. And the 19-year-old Antoine Brown was here, and we had the little ceremony a couple hours before the game. He's very proud, Royce. He should be.
Well, he certainly
Hats off
should
to you. Good kid. Good, I say kid. I've known him since he was a rookie, obviously, with San Francisco. And just to finish it up, I mean, he played in a very tough situation in St. Louis as the heir apparent to Ozzie Smith. And he kept his mouth shut. And
He had a great year, too. He actually won that job. I was talking to Peter Pasquarelli before the game about that, and we're looking at his average.
this will be out of play by Goodwin.
And he was only hitting 115 coming in, and so, man, this kid could really play and can really play. He was swinging the bat so well, really an offensive threat with that 1996 Cardinal club. And there was a lot of stuff going on, you know. Ozzie, who was a foundation in himself in St. Louis and really all in baseball, and Royce Clayton came in there and did a great job. Never said a word as a young player coming over from the Giants. And I've always liked him as a player.
Well, the problem is his mom came up to me before he goes up. She goes, I'm Royce Cerrone's mother. But I said, you know, he's no longer the San Francisco Treat. I kind of have a half nickname for him now. Second time around for Tom Goodwin, who grounded to first base to lead off the game for Texas. 1-on-1 to count to him. And there goes Clayton. Throw by Posada. He's got a good arm. Ow. And Clayton had a pretty good jump there, Ray, and Posada showed, well, part of the reason why he's going to be more of the regular catcher this year for behind the plate.
Well, Joe Girardi throws pretty well, too, but Posada has a great arm. There you see a little slide step move, getting rid of the ball. Perfect pitch to throw on. Little outside, sets his feet, lines them up, makes a perfect throw. Nice tag by Knobloch. Here you're going to see right here, perfect position by the second baseman. Sticks his nose between the base runner and the bag so that he makes sure he gets that tag down before the runner gets there.
And the fourth time the Rangers have been thrown out this year in 23 attempts. And there's a buster that Goodwin goes fishing for. Posada makes the tag. So after the long ball, Hernandez gathers himself. But Zeal gathered this one. He knew it was gone. We've got a 1-1 game.
ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball is brought to you by Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse. When it comes to home improvement, Lowe's knows.
Chris Berman and Ray Knight with you at the ballpark at Arlington of a 1-1 game between the Yankees and the Rangers. Tino Martinez homer in the second for New York. Todd Zeal homer in the third for Texas as we begin the fourth with 2-3-4 for the Yankees. Derek Jeter, Paul O'Neill, and Bernie Williams. Strike, says Jim Evans, the crew chief at first base. Another way, Dale Ford behind the plate. Evans is at first. Larry McCoy made that good call at second base Chuck Merriweather, the umpire, at third. Jeter holds the hand so high and says he's been a little more patient. He said last year, as well as he played, he struck out so many times that he would go for the first pitch a little bit more than he should. I'm talking with him and batting coach Chris Chambliss. He said that's been a marked improvement. I mean, enough to hit over 400 is amazing. But that's part of the maturation process that you're seeing in young Derek Jeter. And another thing is, you know, when talking with Derek, you know, he's going to have Knobloch, looks like going to be on base a lot more ahead of him than he was last year, and that'll change situation pitching and maybe some of the pitches that he sees, Ray. 1-2 pitch is fouled off. And then I said, okay, Derek, so you go 2 for 5 last night, and your average comes down. So can you imagine doing that all year, like a Tony Gwynn or a you know, George Brett, the year that he would charge you 400? No, absolutely not. How can you go 2 for 5 and your average comes down? He said, you can't go in any 3 or 4 game slump. You're done. Driver to short, Clayton. High throw, but Lee Stevens is a big target. Jeter is gone. Let's head on over to Carl Rabbit.
Hi, Chris. Couple places to stop at. First, Pirates, Braves, Tom Glavine. He's getting rocked again. This time, Ryan Kleska doesn't help him out. Run comes in. Glavine in danger of losing his first 4 decisions. Only one other Cy Young winner has done that. That was Frank Viola. Meantime, Juan Guzman getting shelled here. One of the young guys, Carlos Beltran, leaves the building, and the Royals will put a half a dozen on the board against Baltimore.
Blake Devana's leaving in about 2 hours, Ray. Paul O'Neill has rocketed one to right field, so O'Neill is 1 for 2. Yankees have a base runner, 1 out here in the 4th. There's one of our favorite people, 50 years in baseball, Don Zimmer. 50th anniversary, 1949. Professional baseball. Zim with a knee that's really bothering him. Had an MRI on it earlier. Zim may be, so this is actually his 51st season, his 50th anniversary. Zim may not be the interim manager of the Yankees very much longer, and that's the great news, that Joe Torre is recovering so well. Joe is going to see his doctor tomorrow in St. Louis. If things go well, Joe is expected to join the club Friday in Kansas City. Now, before I infer that he's going to manage that night, as the pitch to Bernie Williams is a ball, it doesn't necessarily mean that he would manage Friday night, but he may be in a situation, if he gets the green light, to join the club, travel with them, and then it'll be when he really feels ready. You know, that's good news.
You know what happens, Chris? When you have a bench coach like Don Zimmer,
hit down the left field line by Bernie Williams. And look at the grab by Greer. It was obscured from our vision. And he kept going on the ball, slicing away, and O'Neill has to go back to first.
Well, this park has really strange configurations, and that ball, from our view, you only have about 6 feet before you get into the corner over there. But watch him. He gets there, crosses the foul line, gets right up against the fence. Nice padding. One good thing that this thing has, it's not like Wrigley Field where you run into bricks over there. Even though there's some padding at Wrigley, there's a drain that runs right at the bottom of the fence and grass that's a little unlevel.
Nice catch by Rusty. He kept going. He said it was obscured from our vantage point, but not his. Tino Martinez, a nice play by McLemore in the hole. And Tino is gone. So O'Neill is stranded at first. We're to the bottom of the 4th. 1-1. Back in the bottom of the 4th inning. Conversation between Dale Ford, the home plate umpire, and Mel Stottlemyre, the pitching coach, about El Duque. But I guess everything's all right. It calmed down. I'm not really sure what that was, Ray.
Well, he looks like he's talking about his elbow being a little tender or something, and he just wanted to tell Dale Ford that he wanted to watch him throw. That's what I think transpired out there. And just in case he were to injure his arm, he'll have plenty of time to get a guy loose in the bullpen to come in and get
slipped on a warm-up pitch, I guess. So Mel wanted to get out and take a good look, but everything looks good now. And we're back to a, boy, I dare I say it, Ray. This is the American League. It's a crisp 1-1 game here in the bottom of the fourth. McLemore, Greer, and Gonzalez. 2-3-4. First pitch swinging is McLemore. Knobloch, Tatino, one out in the Texas fourth.
Well, you have two pitchers that keep the ball right around the plate, too. And certainly in El Duque's situation, a lot of hitters don't like to get a strike behind because he's the type of pitcher who can put you away with 2 or 3 different pitches at different angles. So first thing, it looks big to them, they're swinging at it. Now, Mark Clark's a little different situation. He's not a power pitcher that's going to strike you out too often. So a little surprising that the Yankees are swinging at a lot of first pitches, as they are the most patient hitting team in all of baseball as far as pitches per at bat.
Rusty Greer looks at 2 balls. Greer made that fine catch in the top of the fourth inning. I know you just wanted to finish the point about Don Zimmer and Joe Torre, which we will after this pitch. Ripped, and that's down the line, a fair ball. It'll rattle around in the corner. O'Neill, ooh, Karam almost gets away from him. It certainly was going to be a double, but that could have scooted for 3 bases. But O'Neill was alert. Greer with an extra base hit, his 11th double.
Yeah, Greer hitting third in this ball club is yet to hit a home run, but that's the 11th double that he's hit this season. He just really turns on a fastball that's inside, hits a rocket about 5 feet inside that right field line. And mentioned the dimension of this ballpark, it's 325 in that corner and 349, as you see right there. Concrete on the bottom, padded up about 3 feet. So a lot of different things can happen out there. So this is really a fun ballpark to watch games in, because it's to me got the strangest configuration. You see the 325, then it's 349, then there's a jut right there. We see the guy with the red hat and the glove, 377, and it goes out to actually 407, then back to 400. So there's about 5 different angles out there.
What are you telling me? Whoever just designed the outfield wall flunked a sobriety test?
Well, I don't know about that, but I'm telling you that hitters love to hit here. And when you're talking about 325 down the line and 349, 20 feet off the line, gives you a little idea of why Rafael Palmeiro decided to come back home. Watch this ball hit right here in the corner, and it obviously hits the concrete there at the bottom, comes out real hard. If it takes a little hop, it hits that padding, and the ball dies there, and he'll have to go get the ball, and that would probably been a triple.
1-1 the count to Juan Gonzalez. Texas trying to take the lead for the first. Oh, did he pull the chain on that one? Gonzalez waves at it, 1-2.
Well, this is a situation where they pitched around Gonzo a lot last year. He really pulled the string on this 72-mile-an-hour slider or frisbee or helicopter, something.
Complete whirlybird.
Whirlybird. But Gonzo was pitching around a lot in this situation last year. Didn't matter who hit behind him. But with Palmeiro behind you, you couldn't have a stronger, especially with the righty-lefty matchup. Couldn't have any stronger protection.
1-2 pitch again. He pulls the chain, and a throw by Posada. Although Knobloch was not near the bag. Gonzalez strikes out for the second out of the inning. Hernandez really has fooled him on this at bat.
Yeah, we talk about his kick. Watch how much lower it is now with a runner on second base. And he doesn't always bring that leg up around his chin. There you saw it about waist high, a little quicker delivery. Look at there. Only brings it up, picks it up about 5 or 6 inches, delivers that ball. I'm gonna check and see this game if he does that only when he throws that slow breaking ball. It'd be hard to be looking at that kneecap and hitting the ball, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Here's Rafael Palmeiro, flew out to left field in the second inning. And, it's interesting. They list, and I say that they list Rodriguez, 29 years of age. I mean, on paper, he's his second year. He comes with a guy that has a complete plan out of the mound. That's the point I'm making, is that he's changing the deliveries, but not just accidentally. He's got a reason for a lot of what he does out there. Wise beyond the, quote, second year in the majors. And obviously the story. Defecting from Cuba, and first going to Costa Rica, and then making it to this country. Plus, he has a plan with the Sox. I don't know if you ever watched Rusty Staub. Some of the others that had the high socks. Yep. 1-1 the count to Rafi. Inside, ball 2.
You mentioned his second year in the big leagues last year, winning 12 games and only losing 4, pitching for that Cuban national team. Going over to Japan with the Reds in '78, you find out those people, even in Japan, that professional league, they know how to pitch. They've got great instruction, and if they've been in professional ball, he's probably got 10 years under his belt. And pitching for that national team, same type of pressure, pitching in the big league. And, you know, you find that wherever you pitch, Chris, it's the same. Wherever you hit, it's the same. You know, you have the same strike zone, basically. And obviously you have hitters that can handle more pitches and sometimes pitchers that can throw more breaking balls for strikes. But wherever you get the experience.
3-1 pitch to Palmeiro. He swings. This gets a piece of this. And Rafi is still bothered by the knee, as you mentioned at the outset. That's why he's not actually playing first base yet. He's just DHing. And hopped off the old shin.
81-mile-an-hour straight changeup by old Duque.
Palmeiro took batting practice at first base, so he's starting to work out. He's hoping in about a week that he'll get back to first base. So he said, this DH stuff, I'm not ready for it yet. He swing and then 3 innings later, you do something else. Come back to the plate. In the middle, you don't do anything. He says, I'm not quite ready for that. He won Gold Glove last year, first base in Baltimore. Although Stevens has been doing a great job defensively and offensively. Johnny Oates good. I'd like to see Palmeiro out there at first, and hopefully in about a week that will happen. Full count. Grounded to Knobloch. Over to Tino, and Greer will be stranded at second base. So we played 4 here in Arlington. Knotted at 1 between the Yanks and the Rangers. Here's all those goalies have been playing well. Speaking of which, Stanley Cup playoffs continue on ESPN Friday night at 7:30 Eastern, depending on today's results. So the Flyers and the Lopes and the Whalers, or the Hurricanes in Boston and San Jose, Colorado, will determine that schedule Friday, and then a doubleheader on ESPN2 on Friday. Unannounced game yet at 7:30. We know Game 5 of the St. Louis Phoenix series is the late game at 10:30 Eastern, as the Coyotes, the one-time Winnipeg Jets, have a chance to move on to the second round if they close out the St. Louis Blues, and if they do so, they would face the Dallas Stars. Everybody here in Dallas up till 2 o'clock in the morning waiting to see if the Stars could close out Edmonton last night, and they did in the third overtime on a goal by Joe Nieuwendyk past 2 o'clock in the morning Central Time. The hockey hotbed here in Dallas all of a sudden. It's just hard to fathom, but they have a hell of a team. They could easily win the Cup. They have the most points of any team in hockey this year. They won the President's Cup, can they win the Stanley Cup? Chili Davis, Jorge Posada, Chad Curtis to lead off the Yankee fifth. We're happy to bring you all the hockey coverage on ESPN as we roll into the playoffs. The Hartford Whalers, now the Carolina Hurricanes, may actually beat the Boston Bruins in the postseason. It's almost like Texas trying to beat the Yankees. I'm telling you, it's been that bad, right? So what do the Texas Rangers do after a loss like yesterday, Ray? They lead Roger Clemens 5-0. They lose to this team in the postseason last year. They lost 2 games in New York last week. They've lost 9 of 10, 14 of 17. What do they kick stuff around in the clubhouse last night because they blew a lead to the Yankees? As Chile will lead off the 5th inning with a base hit. What do they scratch their head? You're a team like Texas. Do you wonder if you're ever going to beat the Yankees in a meaningful game? I mean, what do you think?
First of all, you respect the ball club and know how good they are and know how solid they are. But in his press conference before the ball game, Johnny Oates talked about his team being unaffected by the loss last night. As you look at Mike Morgan, one of the most veteran players out there, playing with, what, 11 or 12 different clubs in his career. But This is a veteran lace ball club. Luis Alicea there on the left has been around. There's Rafi. And veteran players have just been through the wars. They have lost a lot of games where they've been up 5 runs. Now, maybe not to the Yankees, but they're unaffected by it. And as a result, they come out the next day and they put on the uniform and they play the best that they can play. And hopefully they get a good pitching performance that night from whomever's on the mound. And you do it day to day. You can't look at it and say, this ball club is going to dominate us all season. You do like Johnny says. You play it one game at a time. That's an old cliche, but it's so true in this situation.
This is ripped by George Posada. Jorge, back, gone! He was 0 for 25 as a left-handed hitter. He's now 1 for 26, and the Yankees have a 3-1 lead.
Now you might start. Now I wonder what Johnny's thinking.
He's 0 for 25. He can't buy a hit lefty, but of course it's the Yankees, and they hit a home run. The ball is back, but the lead is not.
And that was a bomb. That was a bomb. That was up above that 381 sign, about 30 feet, about 5 rows deep. Watch how he uncoils and stays behind this baseball on a high pitch. And that's what this young man is going to do. He has been talked about the last 2 years as the best young catching prospect to come along for the Yankees since Elston Howard. And that's a lot of solid catches. You talk about Thurman Munson, but this is a guy that can switch hit, throw, and swing the bat.
Well, let's put into perspective the guys that have gone deep tonight. Here is Posada, who is 0 for 25 as a lefty, barely hitting over 100, gone. Tino Martinez, 2 RBI in 14 games, really in a slump, gone. I mean, these are the weak links, at least, the last couple of weeks of the Yankee lineup.
But the thing about professional hitters, when you're surrounded by the Chris Chamblises and the hitting coaches that Chris Chambliss, the hitting coaches, as well as Willie Randolph, who was a great hitter himself, you don't even have to go to those guys. Chris Chambliss, you don't even have to go to Chris Chambliss. Chris Chambliss is going to be there for you right on top of everything. You see him smile there. He was a great hitter. He taught patience. He teaches patience. You know, with day in and day out grind, that you're going to have slumps. And these guys are patient, they're professional, and in due time, they're going to hit the ball the way they're capable of doing.
You know, we saw Chambliss, and I just want to put a capper on something we started talking about, of Texas scratching their head against the Yankees, and what the Yankees do is balls ripped by Chad Curtis to left field. So 3 straight hits here for the Yankees against Mark Clark in the 5th inning. Bucky Dent, who is, of course, the bench coach for Texas, says, you know, when Chris Chambliss hit the home run in '76 in the 5th game of the playoffs against Kansas City, the Royals were right there with us. But that home run, you know, the next year they played in the ALCS, the Yankees won. 78 they played in the ALCS, the Yankees won. It wasn't until 80, until Brett hit that home run off Gossage, that the Royals busted through. And he says, you know, a home run like Chambliss, it kind of kept the doubt in the Royals all those years. They were about as good as us, but they couldn't quite get over the hump. You know, games like last night, where the Yankees come from behind, the 5-0 deficit to Clemens. Things keep the question mark in Texas's head. It was just interesting that he mentioned Chambliss's home run and the Royals, and here's Dent and Chambliss, and we're all together again. He says, well, one game, I don't want to mean so much of it. We can't come back at Texas, but at times you do scratch your head. We're only human.
Well, you can say we can play with these guys. We can play with these guys, but you got to be able to say we can beat these guys. And Texas knows they can play with anybody, as does Cleveland. But can you beat them? You can beat the rest of the league, win your division, but can you stack up against the big boys when the time comes and have to face that tough pitching?
Yankees have a 2-run lead, and they're going to try and pad it. And there goes Chad Curtis up 90 feet on the base pass with the sinker that sunk too early.
I think Pudge got a direct hit right on his toes. Some catchers use those steel toes. The ball comes off of almost his instep there. Johnny Bench, you should have seen his toes when we played. His the calcium on the end of his toenails, I mean, they were black, and I mean, it was unbelievable how
Thank you for that report.
They take a beating. Well, just telling us. Everybody talks about that being a tough position, but I mean, Ivan plays 150 games a year, as did John. They take a beating.
Pudge knows that as he's catching a sinker ball, we talked to him before the game. He says, I mean, he's only been here 4 starts so far, but I'm blocking 100 pitches a day getting to warm up for him. You know you're in for a long night behind the plate, even when your pitcher is on, because of the sinker Clark relies on. Luis Sojo pokes this to left field. Greer is over. Curtis being waved around. The throw will go to second. It's a 4-1 Yankee lead. Four straight hits here in the 5th inning for the Yankees have resulted in 3 runs, and Sojo smoked it, Ray.
He did, and as you see, this club is stacked with professional hitters. Curtis, Sojo, Davis, everyone that they acquire. There's a fastball down and in, stays right there with it. Got him out last time with breaking balls away, but Mark Clark, as we said, coming into the game has to be very fine with his pitches. Does not possess overpowering stuff, and that's the one real weakness I see on this Texas ball club is starting pitching.
In the bullpen for Texas last year with Colorado, this is Mike Paper Munoz. As opposed to Bobby Blue Munoz and all the other Munoz. We have Harvest Munoz, and almost like the Cruisers back then. Chuck Knobloch pops this one down the right field side, giving chase as Gonzalez, but it'll be out of play. You know, overlooked in all of this is the guy that just got that hit is Luis Sojo, and you know, they always say, well, Homer Bush is gone in that trade involving Clemens, and here's Brocious Hurd. We get Rick Bellinger up because he can play all the positions. Luis Sojo is a 270, 280, 285 hitter. The starter with Seattle when they were in the playoffs, when they busted to a 95 East. He still swings a pretty good bat to hit him in the 9 spot when Brocious is out. You mentioned professional hitter, Ray. He's a valuable player on this team. He just showed it. 1-1 pitch. Foul back.
Well, Sojo can actually play a little bit of shortstop for you, a lot of second, third, and some first base. So he's a very valuable player. He's a professional hitter. By that, I mean he gets a good pitch to hit, knows what to do with the ball, does not try to overpower the ball. And you find these guys that get to be the back part of their career, 33, 34 years old, come to a winning ball club. They're really just happy to contribute. They've made their contribution in their career young, doing what they could do for whatever respective clubs they played for. Then they come to a place like New York and have a chance to put that ring on their finger. They're in second heaven.
He's also one of my favorite nicknames, and one that about 1% of our viewers understand. Luis Sojo in the Rain. That's a line from Warren Zevon's Werewolves of London. For the 99% that don't get it, you know, like Joe Walsh once said, you can't argue with a sick mind, right? You're playing. There you go. You know the tune. Looking for a pina colada at Trader Vic's. His hair was perfect. You know, and then we have to explain some of these. Kind of like explaining why I'm growing my hair here. We're taping on Friday the Sports Century 2-hour Sports Center on the 60s. So I've let my hair go 2 months. You're looking at me a little funny tonight.
Well, you look a little rough.
Yeah, I know. I have the appointment Tuesday. I've got a haircut appointment Tuesday after we take
with that 10-gallon hat on.
When in Rome, with a 10-gallon hat and 2 months of hair growth. I was a werewolf of London, is how I look. And here's the full, I guess it's Mike Full Moon nose. Full moon, long hair, 10-gallon hat. But the Yankees leading the Rangers. See, not everything is changed. Strike on the inside corner. Knobloch did not like that at all, and Clark has punched him out. While he steams, let's steam it on over to Carl.
Hi, Chris. Padres and the Mets, and now Leiter needing some offensive support. He gets it here. A little shattered batter. Gardu Alfonso double into the corner. Look at Mike Piazza lumbering around, and he steps on home. So they're up 2-1. Right now, Leiter has some problems, man on first.
And Piazza not exactly looking like Ricky Henderson running third. Good to see him back, though. And the Mets obviously will welcome him back with open arms. Todd Pratt did a nice job while Piazza was there. Here's Derek Jeter. The pitch is up high for Mark Clark. 3 runs home here for the Rangers in the 5th. I mean, for the Yankees in the 5th to lead the Rangers 4-1, and they're looking for more with Soho at first. Pitch is inside. Count is 2-0. Just to say, we're taping the show with Charlie Steiner. And I don't know what Charlie's doing. I don't know if he's growing his beard longer or whatever. We show it on the air in May. I think it's May 21st, a Friday night at 7:30. Charlie's beard a little longer than that. I think all the money I saved in 2 months right with no haircut. Jeter, in the hands of Lee Stevens, and Soho is doubled off. All right, Jeter bidding for an extra base hit. Instead, it's a double play, but the Yankees pick up 3 anyway.
We're looking at Lee Stevens. We're going to show you what he did last inning as Jeter hits a bullet down the first baseline. Look how shallow he comes off the bag. 1/2 of a step and sets. Normally with a right-handed hitter, he's going to come off the bag all the way out there to that cut. But watch here. He just takes one little choppy step, sets there almost like guarding the line with a right-handed hitter. That would have been a triple had it not hooked foul, but that's what you call not getting to the place that you would generally think the first baseman would get to.
Well, that was Lee Cat Stevens who caught bullet 4 on that one. Mr. April, what he has 15 homers the last 2 Aprils, Lee Stevens. And a good play at first base. Big target down there. And he really kept Texas in the game. So the Rangers now find themselves down by 3 runs, and they will send Pudge, Rodriguez, Tonzile, and Stevens to the plate. Two-0 from El Duque to Pudge Rodriguez. 7 straight Gold Gloves for Pudge Rodriguez. That's an American League record for catcher Jim Sundberg with these Rangers at 6. And you talked about how tough a position catching is. Johnny Bench, who, by the way, has 10 Gold Gloves. That's the record for catchers. 7 is the next. Last weekend, Matt Lawton just plows over Pudge Rodriguez. And they were afraid that he'd be on the DL, but comes back. It's a game-winning homer the next night. He's a tough customer. Tough hombre.
Really is.
One of our favorite players. No question, right, Ray? I mean, he's...
Oh, no question.
He smile on his face.
Hey, he loves to see you. I mean, he's one of these people that doesn't get caught up in the fame. He's just really a personable, loves to play. Talking about everybody using his bat.
And he uses his bat. Down into the corner in right field, and Rodriguez bidding for his first double of the year. Safe. So Pudge, who's averaged about 40 doubles a year the last 3 seasons, taking him 3 weeks, but he has his first double, and the Rangers are trying to come back.
Well, they are a great hitting ball club, and this is why I really like his stroke. Inside out, ball up and in, drives it down the right field line, really kept his hands inside the ball. O'Neill does a great job cutting that ball off, making it very close to second base. Oh, unbelievable that's his first double in the season.
Yeah, it is.
Look at there, 47, 34, 40. The last 3 years, that averages about 40.
Yep.
That's a big number.
But here's Greer that has, what, 11 on the team. But Pudge is on second base, and here's Tonzile, who's homered. Crowd trying to stir a little bit. Rangers doing their best to get the crowd a little vocal. In there for a strike to Zeal, 1-1.
So every game that I've watched Joe Duque, and I've taken a great interest in him as All-American when he came over here, it seems like he picks an inning in the middle of the game to throw nothing but breaking balls. He's thrown now in this inning 4 breaking balls, and I've noticed that throughout his short. There's another one. He'll go fastball, changeup, slider, and then all of a sudden he'll just kind of pick an inning, seemingly, and throw nothing but breaking balls.
Count is 1-2 to Tanzil. Bottom of the 5th, 4-1 New York. He did hold off. Says Jim Evans at first base.
There's 3 different breaking balls, and this is the one that comes from way down under, and a lot of people ring you up on that. But we have the benefit of watching in slow motion, and they don't. But how many times have you seen that exact swing get run off? At least half the time.
Pudge Rodriguez leading off second base with none out here in the Texas 5th. Good eye to work the count to full. 3-2.
Well, you remember last at bat, he threw Zill fastball away, 3-1. He called a strike, then tried to come in and sneak another one out there, and he hit it out there in right field, throwing him nothing but breaking balls. Let's see if he busts him in with a fastball here.
Zeal thought he had ball 4 and said he'll sit down. So Dale Ford has given that inside pitch tonight, that's similar to the one that Knobloch didn't like that he was struck out on.
Well, what happens there, though, a hitter cheats so much for that ball away to cover that he gets blinded on the inside pitch. This is actually a good pitch right here. Catcher steps up, ball starts over the middle plate. If it was anything, it may have been down. But that's what happens when you set a hitter up by throwing him nothing but pitches away, away, away. He starts to lean out over the plate, and that inside of the part of the plate, he becomes vulnerable.
Zeal sits. Lee Stevens will try it. Stevens with 2 home runs in Sunday's game at Minnesota has 7 on the year. Goes the opposite way. Oh yeah, this will rattle in the corner. Rodriguez will score. Stevens with a double. It's a 4-2 game.
Another nice piece of hitting. Fastball, middle, away. Inside, outside ball, cuts it down the left field line. And once it hits the ground down there, it's just an easy stand-up double.
16 RBIs for Stevens. That leads the team. His 13th extra base hit. That'll bring up the number 9 hitter, Royce Clayton, who singled up the middle in the 3rd inning. Royce Clayton is where do you need the extra Clorox tonight on the uniform? You can see that.
Well, that's from 1 attempted pickoff play and 1 slide at second.
Fouled it off his leg. 1-1.
Here El Duque just runs the fastball in, and he just pulls his hands way inside and hits it off the front of his instep there.
That is Danny Patterson, 28-year-old righty in the Rangers bullpen. Had a pretty good year last year and struggling this year. Mark Clark hoping that his club can get him back in it. He surrendered 3 in the top of the 5th. Now the Rangers have gotten 1 in the bottom of the 5th. The pitchers were pretty much sailing along, although they'd each given up a home run. So this 5th inning. 1-1 pitch on the way. Up high and outside, 2-1 to Clayton.
Well, El Duque right now is basically pitching with 1 pitch. He's not able to get that breaking ball over. He's thrown, my count, 8 out of the last 10 breaking balls, and 7 of them have been for balls. Maybe he'll find an angle that he can throw that breaking ball for a strike. was kind of a hanger.
That was a weird one. Clayton was fooled. Looked like everybody was fooled in their first strike.
Watch this pitch. It starts up there right under his elbow, and it just kind of hangs and breaks down, and catcher thought that it was going to be a backup slider. Look right here, Posada. Buckle your knees. Catcher trying to catch the ball the other way with his glove.
Fooled us, too. I wasn't really sure what to call it. Ford kind of gave it a half strike call. Everybody was fooled. Count is 2-2 to Clayton, and the time is called. With the line for 29-year-old Orlando Hernandez. Do it again at 2-2. You know, going into the game, and I know it's only been 4 starts, but, you know, we showed the line. When your walks and hits combined are about how many innings pitched do you have, that's about as good as you're going to see. And he had 10 walks, 17 hits, and 26 2/3 going into the game. That's when you add those up and you're still not over the amount of innings you pitch. That's some good pitching. Clayton, little looper, not blocked, backpedals, makes the play, and there's 2 outs.
Well, what that does, that shows you how good a stuff a pitcher really has. Tom Seaver's the first person I ever heard refer to that. And when you give up fewer hits than innings pitched, you obviously have good stuff. When you give up fewer hits and walks than innings pitched, you have better stuff because you're throwing everything around the plate.
It's interesting that you mentioned Seaver because he was one that did it. Marichal did it a lot because he walked so few people. He actually would give up 8 hits and no walks and pitch a shutout a lot. But when you combine that, which El Duque has done thus far through 4 starts, it gets my attention.
Yeah, it does mine too. I actually, first year back last year with ESPN, did a whole thing on my computer about that. And there was only 3 pitchers in all of baseball that did that. Maddox and Brown, and I believe it was John Smoltz.
But there aren't many. There aren't many that do it in a given season. Tom Goodwin looks at a 1-1 pitch from El Duque coming up. Goodwin 0 for 2, grounded to first, and struck out to end the 3rd.
David Cone comes to mind because he does not walk people. And look at his start for the season. See, it's funny, you know, we keep talking about pitching, and then you see guys that come out here, and Mike Morgan off to a great start.
4-0.
4-0. Mike Morgan.
That's his 11th team.
God, it got me fired.
He's already sweated through that. We got to trade him to another team. That hat's got to go.
No, he'll wear that same hat.
Won with 10 of those 11 teams.
Oh, man. He's a great guy. He's just a great competitor. I took him out of the game in Houston, and he came right on through and didn't even stop. And went on at the clubhouse, and we had a little conversation, and I suspended him, and about 2 weeks later, I got fired.
So you and he moved on to another team.
Well, he stayed a little longer. He stayed the rest of the year.
We needed you, bro.
Hey,
we needed you.
Glad to be back.
With our ball club.
There's a lot of preparation for this, but I don't have the pressure.
You know, I walked right past you today when you said, geez, can you stop till we do this interview? I kept walking past you. We didn't have a conversation.
No, sir.
2-2 the count with Stevens in scoring position. Glad he could join us here for the first half of our double dip in Arlington. They were 2 of the 3 division winners last year in the American League, the Yankees and the Rangers. Off speed, chopped into the Ranger dugout. We'll do it again. Royce even makes the play in the dugout. He must be very proud. $100,000 endowment scholarship fund, Jackie Robinson. Congratulations again to Royce and everything he stands for. Past a leaping Jeter. Stevens being sent around third. He'll score. It's a 1-run game. 4-3. Good job by Tom Goodwin just hanging with it, Red.
Really good job. He's become a much better hitter. When I saw him in Kansas City, I never thought that he really was going to hit. He used the turf a lot, hit almost everything on the ground. Look at Jeter here. He's very shallow at short, respecting the speed. See, he could be back with 2 outs. He should be back real close to the grass, but can't afford to do that with Goodwin's speed. Anything in front of him would be a base hit. Just a little looper over shortstop.
Bill Duque keeping an eye on Goodwin, who has 10 stolen bases in 12 attempts this year. You look for him to go here, Ray?
There's no reason for him not to go here, but in the middle of the order, especially the second, third time around, when hitters have seen the pitcher, I tend to be less aggressive with 2 outs when I've got my 2-3 hole hitter coming up, because you're talking about maybe 3 runs as opposed to just 1 run. But a guy like that, 10 out of 12, he can go anytime. So the positives here not letting him go is that you have the man at first base holding him on. You got a big hole between first and second. McLemore can handle the bat real well. The third baseman's way in. That opens up that area over there for a chopper. If he's still second, everybody's going to back up. It's going to tighten up the infield.
There he goes. Posada's throw. Kicks past Knobloch. And Chuck might have got spiked a little bit there. Goodwin is in with his 11th stolen base, and that leaves the lead.
I think that's the type of baseball that Texas has to play to beat these Yankees. You have to take advantage of your pluses. And Tom Goodwin certainly, as he hammers, luckily those are not steel cleats. They're just those rubber cleats. I don't know, those look like steel. Those look like steel. Not too many players wear those things anymore. But let's take a look at these cleats. Yeah, those are steel.
Steel belted, huh?
Steel belted.
Not quite the cleat that Ty Cobb used to go in.
No,
Is it?
I don't believe Chuck would have got up the top.
No, I don't think so. The Rangers are 20 of 24 in running this year. One thing they can do, and of course, the other side of the coin, only 1 of 7 against Pudge. So whoever they play, they're going to have an advantage in that department. Whoever they play. So 2 runs in, the tying run at second base. Count is 1-2 to McLemore with Greer on deck. 28th pitch of the inning for El Duque, who has been pretty economical up until now.
Well, early in the game, we talked about how quickly he was getting the ball and throwing it, just loading and letting it go. This whole inning, he has been very deliberate, maybe because of base runners.
Strikes out McLemore to end the inning. But not until the Rangers come up with a pair of runs to make it a 1-run game. Pudge Rodriguez started off with a double. He scored on the double by Lee Cat Stevens. Stick around.
He slid hard into Chuck Knobloch. Look here as he extends. Knobloch trying to block the bag with his knee, kind of pinches his knee against the bag and that steel cleat. Comes into the dugout. Trainer feeling of his knee. I don't know if it was as much of a pinch. Looks like he's talking about it hitting there, maybe a little hyperextension. You don't want to really speculate, but no question that he hit his knee hard. And these are definitely real spikes. You know, I played on AstroTurf so long and saw so many people go to the AstroTurf type spikes that sometimes I forget that there is real turf out there.
New pitcher for the Texas Rangers is, I guess we'll change the nickname for the night since it is what's happening up above us, Ray. Mike Full Munoz. Well, it's a full moon tonight. How could I not do it? And he will face.
I didn't know that you could just change.
Just for the night.
Oh.
Hey, but this is. I invented the rules of this game.
Hey, man, you can change them anytime you want.
I'm both Cartwright and Doubleday when it comes to this, okay? And you saw the full moon just to solidify. Solidify, nice word. Validate, solidify. What the hell? But my hair's getting too long, Ray. That's solidify. Did I really go to Brown? Obviously not. Get me out of this. O'Neill, Williams, and Tino Martinez. 3-4-5. Off-speed pitch is a tap foul behind the plate.
Munoz is 33 years old as we see Mark Clark there. 5 innings pitched.
Except for the 1 inning, Clark is usually an innings eater. It's not a bad outing for him, but
well, I think one of the things is that
not a great outing.
Not a great outing, but with Johnny Oates talking about going to a 4-man rotation, you have to be pitch efficient.
McLemore to Stevens, and O'Neill is out. 1 down. Let's go down to Carl.
Bye, Boomer. We head out to Houston. Diamondbacks, Astros. Road team already up 3-zip. Derek Bell. Only his 3rd home run of the year, but it came with a man on that made it 3-2. Next batter, Andy Bettis, Jeff Bagwell. He goes yard. His 6th this season. He's got 18 runs batted in. It's all tied up in Houston, Coach.
Brown paper Bagwell with a dinger. 1 out here in the 6th inning. Bernie Williams grounded at second. He's retired on a fine catch against the padding in foul territory in left field by Rusty Greer. So Bernie is 0 for 2.
Mike Munoz pitched for Colorado last year. Detroit early in his career. The Dodger chain actually drafted him. Pretty good fastball, big breaking ball. Left-handers only hit .214 against him last year. Usually a situational type pitcher, bring him in and go through the lineup maybe 1 time, or try to face 2 out of 3 left-handers in 1 inning.
He has that relief pitcher look, with the goatee. That's the look of a reliever, isn't it?
Yeah, they always felt like they had to have some type of edge. I remember Rabowski when he drew that.
Well, that was a different edge. Garber and Rabowski, Sparky Lyle with the huge mustache.
Goose Johnson.
Goose just looked nasty. Obviously, Raleigh. Chopper to third. Zeal across the diamond to Stevens. 2 ground ball outs by Munoz. There's 2 outs. We'll bring up Tino Martinez, who in the 2nd inning with 1 down and nobody on. Gonzo. Gonzalez first thought he had a shot. Maybe not. Clark surrendering the solo home run to Tino. It was just the 2nd of the year. At that point, the Yankees led it 1-0. Todd Zeal, solo homer in the 3rd inning, tied it. Then the Yanks with 3 in the top of the 5th. 2-run home run by Jorge Posada made it 3-1. Then Luis Sojo with a base hit made it 4-1. But the Rangers on a double by Stevens and a single by Goodwin got 2 in the bottom half of the 5th. That's where we are, 4-3 here in the top 6. And Chuck Merriweather, third base umptions no. Tino did not go around.
Slider in the dirt, and here you go. You see our view of it, and they're right at the front of the plate. Pretty consistent. Chuck Merriweather not calling that.
Big homestand for these Texas Rangers. Obviously, with the Yankees in town, that's their unfinished business. And they follow that with a 4-game series against the Cleveland Indians, the 3rd of which is our Sunday night game. That's a Friday to Monday wraparound series. So the Rangers, interesting, Ray, they've just come off a 12-game road trip, which is their longest of the year. So they have their toughest road trip of the season done already. They were 8-4 on it. Now they have 3 with the Yanks and 4 with the Indians. This is a real telltale week for them. McLemore to Stevens, and a good inning by Mike Munoz. 3 grounders in the infield. Heading to the bottom of the 6th, still a 1-run game.
Well, Bell, Bagwell, how about this B? No BS here, but Billy Spires leaves the building. Andy Bettis got a problem with home runs. He's given up 9 in 22 2/3, and the Astros are on top.
All right, Carl, thank you. One-run game here as well. Same score. Yankees lead the Rangers 4-3. Bottom of the sixth. And the heart of the Texas order. Deep in the heart of Texas. Roasted Greer, Juan Gonzalez, Rafael Palmeiro. A day that was upper 80s here, Ray, in the Metroplex. I wasn't planning on bringing 4 shirts to this game as I usually do when we have a game in the middle of the summer. Has that mid-season baseball feel in a good one-run game as Greer lofts one to left. The proverbial can of corn for Chad Curtis. 1 out in the Texas sixth. Esteban Loaiza is up throwing in the Texas bullpen. That's Esteban. There's a hole in the bucket. Loaiza. So that what you get. We'll go Warren Zevon. It's a little shaky, but Mike Munoz had that was a very impressive inning for him. Juan Gonzalez, just 1 home run for a man that's hit 40 3 straight years, for a man that's hit 40 5 different times. But as we spoke before the game, I said, you know, Sammy Sosa had only 3 through the first 20 games last year, and it turned out okay. So let's not worry about him yet, right, Ray?
Right. He's gonna get his home runs. It's a matter of whether or not he's gonna hit, you know, 40 or 50. When you're talking about 600 at bats, playing every day, Palmeiro behind him now. He's going to get his on a bad year. He's going to hit 35.
Base hit by Gonzalez. 1 out. The Rangers have the tying run aboard. So that'll bring up Palmeiro, and it's just wasn't trying to drive it out, Ray.
No slider, and he has that. You remember him hitting the slider off the end of his bat earlier, and he stayed back just a little longer. The ball was a little fatter on the plate, and able to get a little bit more of the bat barrel on the ball and eke it through the left side.
Hernandez from the strength. Off speed to Palmeiro, in there for strike 1. Rafi 0 for 2. Blown out to left. Grounded at second. This is just the first half of our double dip. Toronto at Anaheim following us. David Wells. Great start he got off to. Finally got beat by the Yankees. His last start on Friday. Wells against Belcher in that game following us, so we hope we stick around. We got a great reception when we went back to New York. They played, it was very classy. They played the last out of the perfect game on the scoreboard. The fans gave them a big reception, as they did later in the series when Graham Lloyd was summoned from the bullpen. New York fans, they appreciate when you've done something for them.
They certainly do.
So Wells will pitch later on tonight here on ESPN. Inside to Palmeiro. 2-1. Rafi just 6 hits shy of 2,000 for his career.
Got him out with such shot at 3,000. If he can take care of that knee, he'll eventually probably go on to become a permanent DH because he's got that such a sweet swing.
No question about that. Count is 3-1. With Rodriguez on deck, Gonzalez at first base. Off speed, Palmeiro waits on it. It's high, ball 4, and the Rangers have 2 aboard for Pudge Rodriguez, who doubled and scored his last time up. Jason Grimsley in the bullpen, and he's come in the news several times the last couple of weeks. First of all, he got his first win since '96 on Sunday. And Mel Stottlemyre out on the mound to talk with El Duque. First win since '96. I said on Baseball Tonight, his first win since Ed Grimley was on TV, and he thought that was humorous. But the big news is he came forward a couple weeks ago and said he was the one when he was a member of the Indians in '94, that climbed through the ceiling of Comiskey Park into the umpire's room to retrieve Albert Bell's cork bat, which was confiscated in a '94 game. The umps went back after the game. What? No bat? Bell was still suspended, but there was no real evidence. And Grimsley said, you know what? I was the guy. I had a little help. Somebody knew the old nooks and crannies of Comiskey, and he was almost like a 007 James Bond episode. That's quite a story.
Hey, good teammate. That's a good teammate.
Yes. And Bobby Brown said, hey, that's old news. In 5 years, I'm not going to suspend him 5 years later. Just adds to a...
Besides, he's testifying against himself.
Oh, I know. You almost needed, like, Secret Agent Man by Johnny Rivers to be played in the background.
Yeah.
So,
I heard that they had replaced it with a Paul Sorrento bat.
yes, they did. Yes, I'm sorry.
And
He brought Sorrento's back.
Right.
And I'll give you another Grimsley note if he comes in. But I mean, that's just too good a story to let go. Meanwhile, the Rangers would like to author a story of beating the Yankees and they're in a position to take the lead with the Juan Gonzalez at second and Palmeiro at first for Pudge Rodriguez. With just one out here in the sixth. Little chopper that's foul.
Boy's throwing a lot of off-speed pitches. Pretty good snag with his fishnet there. Another slider. He's dropping way down. The ball just tailing off out there, and Pudge out in front of it.
Fernandez is throwing less. Not that he's overpowering with the fastball, but you pointed out he has run much more off speed the last inning or so.
Yeah, really, since the fifth inning. The fifth inning was pretty much, predominantly breaking ball. And maybe you feel something because the base hits that they got off them the opposite way were all off the fastball.
Way outside, backhanded by Posada. Gonzalez at second. Palmeiro at first. 1-1 the count to Ivan Pudge Rodriguez. Was 1 for 2. RBI double his last time up. To center field, Bernie Williams over towards right center, makes the catch. Gonzalez tags. He'll move to third. Palmeiro back to first. There's 2 outs. Got under it just a little much. He didn't miss it by that much, Ray.
Yeah, he did, and he hit it the big part of the park there. The home run that Zill hit was around 370. This is about the 407 sign. Just a tad uppercut there. Good strong swing. Just got under the ball a little bit, and it carried out there about 380, but wrong part of the park.
He knows he just missed it too. Corey letting us swing his bat earlier. He used a light bat.
It was light. He was saying that everybody on the team wanted to use it. Luis Alicea had one of them, and Gonzalez was playing around with one of them.
No, Gonzalez didn't use a bat that light. That was light.
No, Gonzo uses a lot.
I know that. It's like a toothpick. It's like a 31, wouldn't it?
Even you said it was light.
I'm real light.
You can't tell a major league player that his bat's light.
He said, as Zeal steps up, he said, I start the year with a 32. I end the year with a 30. I catch 150 games in the heat here. What do you want? He needed one more ounce on that bat, I think. That's what he's upset about.
Finally, a fastball, 90-mile-an-hour fastball, the best fastball he's thrown all night. Dropped down and finally let one go after throwing all these breaking balls. But I noticed it 2 starts ago where he was throwing a lot of breaking balls in the middle of the game and works back to his fastball.
2-1 the count to Zeal, who homered into the 3rd inning. He fouls it away at 2-2. Zeal has homered and struck out against Hernandez, so you look for something in the middle here. Those are the two extremes.
And he struck him out on a fastball inside after throwing 5 breaking balls away, and Zeal got him after a 3-1 pitch was called a strike on the outside corner. El Duque came back with it, and Zeal deposited it in the bleachers.
Soho across the diamond to Tino Martinez, and the Rangers strand 2 runners. So El Duque wriggles free. We're heading to the 7th, 4-3 New York. We have a few Yankee fans here in Texas. It's their stretch time as the Yankees have beaten the Rangers 6 straight. They're leading 4-3 here in the 7th inning, and the run for the Roses. You know spring is here. The first Saturday in May. ABC at 4:30 Eastern. 125th running of the Kentucky Derby at Churchill Downs in Louisville. Will it be Bob Baffert again with 3 in a row? We should also mention that on ESPN Friday at 5, the Kentucky Oaks. We'll have that for you. And Saturday at 2, we'll have a Kentucky Derby special. And you know this man is dialed into this. He loves the ponies. Probably got the Lone Star tomorrow for the afternoon card. He and Joe Torre and the gang usually huddle and go over these horses, and they have a good game plan when it's Kentucky Derby Saturday. I can tell you that. I need to get my information after the game from those guys. They know more about it than I do. Chili Davis, Jorge Posada, Chad Curtis in the 7th inning. 7th inning for Mike Munoz, who had 3 ground ball outs and an impressive relief of Mark Clark the last inning there. Mike Munoz, one of 5 players in this game who has a name ending with a Z. All right, now that's not a big deal, but I'm going to set up something here. Munoz, Gonzalez, and Rodriguez for Texas. Tino Martinez and El Duque, Lando Hernandez for the Yankees. Chile swings through that one. The Texas Rangers are the first team since 1916 to have 3 players on their roster beginning with a Z. Todd Zeal, third base, of course. A youngster, a rookie in the bullpen named Jeff Zimmerman, and it's a great story. Chile is tagged, and there's a strikeout, 1 out. And the backup catcher to Pudge Rodriguez, Greg Zaun. The first team since the 1916 Chicago Cubs. I know you needed this information, Ray.
I'm writing it down.
Raleigh Zeider, an infielder. Heine Zimmerman, a third baseman. And Dutch Zwilling, center fielder. The 1916 Cubs, and welcome to the 1999. Now, if you wait a whole century, it usually will happen again. Just let me throw that out there. But we're not done, but I'll give you a batter breather.
Oh, we're not?
No, we're not done. Posada, who had a 2-run homer his last time up to give the Yankees the lead. That'll be it for Duque.
Well, usually when somebody continues to throw during the offensive part of the inning, then if you see Mike Stanton there, it means you're finished.
And when the pitcher goes up the runway, that's another
That's
sign.
another strong indicator.
I've been around this park a while. I mean, the game a while. I'm starting to pick up some things.
You are.
Posada chops it to short. Nice short hopper by Royce Clayton. And there are 2 outs. Let's move it on over to Red.
When we talk about the Indians' offense, how good they are, but I tell you, the White Sox are hanging around. They already won game 1 of a doubleheader with the bases loaded in the 3rd. Maglio Ordonez. It's a grand slam off Tony Saunders. They are now up 6-0. They've won 8 of their last 11.
Boy, you throw everything out the window when the Devil Rays and the White Sox get together, don't you, Ray? That's a series steeped in tradition.
You're on a roll.
Yeah, I missed that. I got done with the draft. I can, like, just get into baseball now, you know? There's 50 weeks till the next draft. I'm ready for you, boy. Chad Curtis. Popped in foul ground to Zeal. Singled in the 5th and scored. Mike Munoz has retired all 5 times he's faced. Got off my roll there with the Z's. I'm afraid to do it with 2 outs because there's a clincher to all this. 3 Z's for the Rangers. Hit well to center field, but too much real estate there as Goodwin makes the grab. So Curtis, who homered last night, making a bid tonight. Munoz 6 for 6. Rangers coming up a rundown in the 7th inning.
We head out to St. Louis, and it is raining, but it's raining home runs off the bat of Larry Walker, a 3-run shot. Jose Jimenez has given up 2 3-run home runs to Walker in the game. Colorado's at 7-3.
Larry Walker with 2 homers, 2 3-run homers off Jose. His name, Jose Jimenez. Bottom of the 7th inning, and that's all for El Duque. And Mike Stanton, the left-hander, is coming in. Stanton, who seemingly everywhere he pitches, his team goes to the postseason. And he had a lefty, really, with Lloyd gone, and he takes on even more importance now in the Yankee pen.
Well, he does. And he has closed in his career. He's done just about it all. Has a good fastball, hard slider, a big curveball. He'll throw a lot of off-speed pitches. He generally just comes right at you with his power. Pretty good against left-handed hitters. He's been inconsistent in his career. I've seen him when he just mowed down people when he was with Atlanta, and in times when he just can't get the ball down.
Lee Stevens, the left-hander batter, will lead off the bottom of the 7th for the Rangers, who want desperately to beat the Yankees in any way, shape, or form. Which gives us a chance to tell you that this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any way, shape, or form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game cannot be disseminated in any way, shape, or form without express written consent. So there.
You got that out of the way.
Got it in. It's like the draft. We get it out of the way, now we can do baseball, right? Lee Cat Stevens. 7 home runs. RBI double tonight. And the ball rides the peace train out to left field for a base hit. The Rangers have the leadoff man on in the 7th. Just past the outstretched glove of Derek Jeter. So Stevens is 2 for 3 tonight. It's a great story, really. Although Don Zimmer doesn't think so right now, which we'll tell in a moment.
Fastball up and in, just flips it out there. Lee Stevens has got both his base hits to left field, a double down the left field line, and fighting that fastball off.
So he's the potential tying runner that'll bring up Royce Clayton, who was 1 for 2 tonight, singled in the 3rd inning. Stevens played 2 years with the Kentetsu Buffaloes in Japan. Ray, when he came up with California, it just didn't work out for him. And he went to Japan and just became a much better, more patient, more intelligent hitter. And he has contributed in a big way here in Texas. Will Clark was hurt. Last couple of years he played some first base. DH, platoon DH with Mike Sims. Now he's playing first base while Palmeiro was hurt. 2 years in Japan to work on his craft, and here he is with the AL West Division champ Rangers. Clayton looks at 2 balls for Mike Stanton.
Don Zimmer decided to go to the left-hander with Stevens up, then the right-hander Clayton, left-hander Goodwin, McLemore switch hitter, and then Greer. So 4 out of the 6 hitters left-handed.
It doesn't matter whether you hit underhanded. You got to throw a strike.
You got to get the ball over. That's been Stanton's problem throughout his career. Last year in 79 innings, only gave up 71 hits. As we look at Nelson in the bullpen, the year before, 66 innings, 50 hits, but gave up 34 walks in 66 innings in 97 and 26 last year.
Past the diving Tito Martinez to right field. Stevens will be going into third base. O'Neill's throw cut off. Runners on the corners for the Rangers with none out here in the 7th. So the 8-9 hitters, Ray, setting the table for Texas.
Just a fastball down, 2-0. Clayton not trying to do too much with the ball, hit it the other way. reminded me of a lot of these Yankee hitters who make a living hitting the ball the opposite field. Most of the hits tonight coming the opposite way, including Zill's home run. Now, see if we get a pinch hitter here for...
Yeah, we do. Roberto Kelly, who will platoon some in center field with Tom Goodwin. The straight right and left pinch hit situation. Kelly swinging from the right side of the plate against the lefty Stanton. He will enter the game.
Interesting move because now you have your best defensive player out of the game in Goodwin, but Roberto Kelly has hammered left-handed pitching throughout his career.
His numbers thus far this year, 12 of 23. He's been able to. The Rangers blew a 5-run lead last night. They're trying to win after being down by 3 runs here tonight.
This is where managing is fun, Chris. When you start talking about making decisions, you bring in, you pinch hit here for Goodwin. That leaves you in an ideal situation because you have a switch hitter, McLemore, hitting next, and you put the onus on Don Zimmer because you have a left-handed bat, Greer, so you don't want to take out Stanton here to turn him around. You don't want to take Stanton out because you bring in the right-hander to face Kelly. And you're staring at McLemore over there. You can go either way, and Greer, the left-hander, Gonzalez, it doesn't matter. So take the best defensive player out of the ballgame when you're down late in the game, produce offense.
Ooh. Got that one up there. Kelly a little late on it.
Bobby Kelly had him in Cincinnati. He really likes the ball down. He can hit the ball up to right field, but you can't throw the ball too low for him. Dead fastball hitter the opposite way, but doesn't strike out very much. He makes contact.
Clayton is the runner at first base. Tying run, or potential tying run, is Lee Stevens at third. None out here in the 7th. Out of play. 1-2. Roberto Kelly's been traded for some, been involved. Well, one is the guy who's playing right field. He was traded for Paul O'Neill when the Yankees to Cincinnati when O'Neill came over here. I mean, that O'Neill, of course, has blossomed after that.
Well, Roberto, if you remember, was center fielder for the Yankees, and they talked about him being a great, great young player, and he never really became the defensive player that they expected him to be.
Well, they were hoping he would be what Bernie Williams has become. But he rips one against his old team. Stevens scores. We're tied. The throw in the third. Safe is Clayton. Kelly moves up to second. 4-4. Roberto Kelly now 13 of 24, 542 on the young season, right down the line.
Well, you're not going to strike him out there. He doesn't hit the ball that good, but he stays back on the ball, just gets a piece of the ball, hits it over the third baseman's head. Great play there by Curtis charging the ball, but Clayton going full tilt all the way from first to third, makes it into third, and enables Roberto to scamper on into second. That's a great play both ways. Offensively, running hard as you can from first. We're going to
infield in to Mark McLemore with runners at second and third. Still none out here in the 7th.
This is a tough deal when you're managing right here. I don't know that you don't go ahead and put this runner on here and try to get a double play and keep the game close. When you put the infield in like this, you're creating a situation where you're going to blow the ball game open. One base hit now puts you ahead by 2 runs. I like to walk a guy and go ahead and let my left-hander face the next left-handed hitter, then bring my right-hander in to face Gonzalez, hoping that I get a double play. This is a tough, tough deal for infielders here when you have to play on top of a hitter like this. Also creates that big space out there. You look at Rusty Greer.
Well, he obviously feels, Don Zimmer does, that they get an easier chance at McLemore than either Greer or Gonzalez or maybe Palmeiro after that. I mean, that's obviously the
well, the thing is, though, you got the 3-hole hitter there. Obviously, he's the best hitter in your lineup, and you think you want him up there in clutch situation. But when you have the shortstop playing this close, the runner at third base is not going to break. He's going to make the ball go through. So all you're doing is you're only going to catch a ball hit right at you or a ball that's hit real soft in front of you.
And it's hit right at Jeter. So that gamble pays off as McLemore is out. One down and Rusty Greer is up. But Jeter, you got to feel like a goalie when you're playing that close at short or third.
Yeah, you got to feel like a real lucky person if you're Don Zimmerman and it hits right at somebody like that. My feeling is that in defense in situation, the shortstop and second baseman can play 3 or 4 steps deeper, think about the ball in front of them, and still be able to make the play home.
All right, now, Ray, Rusty Greer up. I know lefty versus lefty. However, he's 6 of 11 lifetime against Stanton. Infield is in again.
Well, I pulled the infield in with 1 out because of the fact that now they're going to go on ground ball contact. Any ball that's hit, they're going to go on ground ball contact, so you have to make the play at the plate. When there's nobody out, the runner in first and second, third are not going to go on contact. They're going to make the ball go through. So you could play infield halfway, and they're still not going to run.
Breaking ball misses outside. 2-0.
Now, 1 out, tie ball game on the road. You want to be able to cut this runner down. The other choice here is to walk Greer and bring the right-hander in to pitch to Gonzalez, hoping you can get a double play. But Gonzalez does not hit the ball on the ground that often. So they do a lot of things differently in the American League, I'm telling you. Most of the time in the National League, you got a 3- and 4-hole hitter. You got a right-handed guy out there that's a single ball pitcher. First base open, tie and run. Go ahead, run on third. You put the runner on base and try to make 1 pitch to get a guy out.
And now with 3-0, they will complete the walk intentionally. And now the bases are loaded for the 2-time MVP of the American League, Juan Gonzalez. As the Yankees will huddle on the mound, Mel Stottlemyre making the walk. Got Jeff Nelson available in the pen, and you know that's what he did. The signal just went there. And so this will be the big right-hander against the big right-hander with the game on the line. Oh, I think you might come back. Well, the wheels are turning here in Texas in the bottom of the 7th, and we look at our 989 sports summary. 4-4 game with 1 run in and the bases full of Rangers here as Jeff Nelson's coming to pitch. Martinez and Posada with home runs for the Yankees. Todd Zeile with home run for the Texas Rangers. And to face the 5-time 40 home run man Juan Gonzalez is 6'8" right-hander Jeff Bull Nelson.
Good sinker, good slider. Comes right at everybody. Tough to get the ball in the air, and here we have a dead fly ball hitter in Juan Gonzalez, so this should be a real good matchup.
Well, here's the good news with the bases loaded for the Yankees. If you're Derek Jeter, you get to move back. Clayton, Kelly, and Greer aboard for Juan Gonzalez. At least you get to play a double play depth against Gonzalez. There's no way you want to be in with him up.
No, you don't.
Little high, little outside, ball 1. Gonzalez tonight, sorry, Ray, 1 for 3, singled his last time up.
No, I'm just going to say, buddy, this is a hitter's dream here. You come up there, guy fresh out of bullpen, all the pressure on him. You've been in the game. You're looking for 1 ball in 1 area.
Strike, 1-1.
And that wasn't it. That was a strike, but it's not the pitch that Juan Gonzalez wants to hit. Last year we talked about him, or he actually promoted himself with all those runs he drove in it. That he drove in. We thought about Hack Wilson to 190 RBI, so we know he can drive in a run.
Outside, 2-1.
And one thing I noticed about Juan over the years, he's gotten much more selective as a hitter with runners in scoring position. Early in his career, he would swing in everything. Right here, 2-1. You could throw any pitch. Split finger down, fastball up around his chin. He was going to swing at it. He made up his mind. When he was ahead in the count, he was going to swing the bat.
Rip, base hit. Rangers have the lead. Clayton scores. Kelly scores. 6-4, Texas. So the man who had the most RBIs in the American League in 49 years a year ago with 157, Juan Gonzalez, has done it to the Yankees.
Well, you know it's not a fluke. This man loves to drive runs in and just to pitch right up there. Say, hit me all over the place. Ball driven to the left field. Curtis has a little problem with the ball there. Runner coming all the way in. Jeff Nelson not keeping the ball down. Here's the bobble right here, running by the ball. Excuse me.
I think he scores anyway, by the way.
He scores anyway. Roberto Kelly can fly.
Yes.
It's a great jump.
And he got the go sign all the way from Jerry there in the third base. Not out of the woods yet with Rafael Palmeiro up off speed pitch, strike one.
But things that drive managers crazy. Jeff Nelson, a sinker ball pitcher, never got the ball below the belt to Gonzalez.
Inside, 1-1. Well, last night, the Rangers squandered a 5-run lead. Tonight, they're trying to win after being 3 runs down. Mike Stanton did not provide relief. Faced 5 batters, 4 of them got on. Inside from Nelson to Palmeiro again, the count is 2-1. With Pudge Rodriguez on deck and 2 aboard. Kelly getting the tape cut going to center field.
Yeah, he didn't have to tape up the hit, but
I don't get that.
I don't get it either. These guys are so superstitious, man. You know that there's things, there's rituals they do every day.
Inside, 3-1.
Since the skipper said, hey, Roberto, get a bat. He didn't have time to get those wrist tapes.
As you look at scores from around the majors, and the hockey scores coming as well. The Rangers 0-3 against the Yankees this year. 3-game sweep at the hands of the Yankees last October. Lost 9 of the last 10, lost 23 of the last 31. Perhaps we can be heroes if just for one day. Long way to go. The Rangers have at least grabbed the lead. The first time tonight. And they want more. With Greer and Gonzalez aboard.
Real dangerous pitch here. 3-2, 1 out. I don't think Johnny's going to have them going here. Stay out of double play.
Foul back.
But he did. It was automatic for me. Generally, you got a runner on first base, 3-1. Early in the game, Goodwin was over there, and Clayton was over there, and Johnny did not run. 3-1 count with 1 out. Same situation, 3-2. Just going by what he feels.
Pudge waiting to hit. Palmeiro up with a full count. Time called. Five of the 10 base runners have scored for the Rangers the last 3 innings. That's economical. Here they go again. Ball 4, bases loaded again. This time it'll be for Pudge Rodriguez. Second walk of the inning to go along with 4 Ranger hits and 3 Ranger runs. The 8th batter, Pudge Rodriguez, to the dismay of Don Zimmer. Nelson and Rodriguez have faced each other plenty. Nelson in his earlier days with Seattle. 3 of 18 Pudge against Nelson. So those numbers start to maybe factor in after you have, double figures of appearances. Pudge is already tonight doubled and scored. He's 1 for 3. Strike.
Pudge is a high ball hitter. He likes the ball up. He likes to stay inside the ball, hit the ball from left center to right center. Nelson, when he is throwing the ball correctly and effectively, he's down, and that ball that sinks is a much more difficult ball to inside out than the ball up. So that might be why he's not had a lot of success against it.
He went out of the strike zone, and Nelson got him to chase it, and Jeff is ahead 0-2. Rusty Greer, Juan Gonzalez, and Rafael Palmeiro, your base runners. Strike 3, even though the ball squirted away. So good pitching there by Nelson, and there's 2 outs.
Well, he drops a slider on him. The ball gets down. Just not a good pitch to hit. Really good block there by Posada. Hits off that right flat. Prevents a run from scoring.
So the 9th man to come to the plate here in the 7th inning for Texas is Todd Zeile. He homered in the 3rd inning. He struck out and grounded 3rd. 3 runs home, 3 men on. And the Rangers keep it going. In there for a strike. So Nelson, 5 straight strikes.
Not too shabby.
6 slams is impressive. Very impressive. Not as impressive as Fernando Tatis last week. 2 in 1 inning. But yet 6 grand slams is impressive. Anybody would take that. And he would take number 7 in a heartbeat.
Little pull cue shot, fair ball. Oh, this is big trouble. Greer scores. Gonzalez scores. Palmeiro stops at 3rd. 2 more home. 8-4 Texas. Sometimes you don't have to hit it that hard. You just have to hit it hardly at all.
That's a good piece of hitting. I like that type of hitting. Tried hit a home run to right field, pulled off the ball and struck out. Now with a single, stayed there, inside out the ball, strong enough to fight it out over the first baseman's head down in that corner. And the hitters that give pitchers fits are the guys that we ex-managers and ex-players and former players, I think that's the same as X, isn't it? Call tough outs. Tough outs are people that are going to get the barrel of the bat on the ball. Don't try to hit the ball out of the ballpark. Just put it in play.
Stevens going to be intentionally walked, and Royce Clayton will come up with the bases loaded. A recurring theme here in this inning. 5 doubles and a homer tonight for Texas. Maybe at least for one night they have a chance to slay the Dragon.
Well, it goes back to what Johnny Oates was talking about, this ball club being unaffected by the comeback by the Yankees last night. Johnny said that his club has come back many times. And with his pitching rotation last year, having almost a 5 earned run average, he knows his club, in order to win the division, has to score a lot of runs. And they do.
So the 11th Ranger to the plate is Royce Clayton. Ron Zimmer, Mel Stoudemire, the Yankee brain trust, has seen the bullpen collapse. Hernandez is yanked. Stanton and Nelson have come in and have been torched. Third time this inning, the Rangers have the bases loaded. Palmeiro and Zeal and Stevens aboard now. Pitch misses to Royce Clayton. A little high and outside. Ball one. Foul back. The crowd is loud, but you figure there'd be in a party atmosphere. I mean, these are the Yankees, a team that has just slayed them. I mean, I'm not saying they're not excited nor are they supportive, but you figured it would be about a 15-minute roar, wouldn't you think, Ray? Maybe they just still fear the impending doom.
They're holding their roar to that last out in the 9th inning.
Yeah. They get another extra base hit here. They let loose then.
So you're coming off that draft, and we're still in April, and you're thinking this is the World Series.
No, I'm not. No, I just know that they're frustrated here. I've heard it for 2 days. He's frustrated, although what a series he had in '96 with those 5 home runs. Two-two pitch to Clayton. He wants it to left, but Curtis is there to squeeze it and end the inning. But not until the Texas Rangers have come up with 5 here in the home half of the 7th. Moving to the 8th. Texas 8, the Yankees 4. Back in the top of the 8th inning, the Rangers batted around to pick up 5 runs, and now the Yankees, who came from 5 back, trying to come from 4 back in consecutive nights. And guy that knows this team full well, the Boomer, one of the other Boomers, David Wells, pitching for the Toronto Blue Jays. His new squad at the Anaheim Angels with Tim Belcher. That's coming up right after we're done here in the ballpark at Arlington. Bob Carpenter, Joe Morgan on the call for you. So stick around for more baseball action here from the American League. And the Rangers have gone to their 3rd pitcher of the night. Esteban, there is a hole in the bucket. Loaiza came over last year in a trade from Pittsburgh, and they expected him really to make a major impact as a starter. He has not yet, hence he's pitching out of the bullpen.
Well, he has great stuff. He throws 94, 95 miles an hour.
And he's retired Luis Sojo on 1 pitch.
Yes, he did. He's got a great slider. He's got a changeup. He's got a curveball. He just doesn't know how to use his pitches yet. When I saw him at Pittsburgh when I was managing Cincinnati, I wanted to acquire him badly because he's one of those guys that just come at you and overpower you. But he just has not been able to put his pitches together. But you watch the gun tonight. He's going to be right around 94, 95 miles an hour. He can get it up there.
Roberto Kelly stays in the game after pinch hitting for Goodwin. He and his taped forearms will be in center field. Top of the order, Chuck Knobloch with Derek Jeter on deck. McLemore, Stevens, 2 out. So we saw the Yankees bullpen collapse there in the 7th inning. Ray, since Mark Clark has gone out, the Rangers bullpen at first Mike Munoz and now thus far Esteban Loaiza, 8 up, 8 down.
Well, Munoz did a great job keeping his ball club in the game, allowing them to fight back, scratch back in and get the game even. Now it's up to Loaiza to get it to Wetland.
Maybe with a 4-run lead, not even get it.
Maybe not.
Got it to Wetland last night with a 1-run lead. The former Yankee could not hold it. Derek Jeter 1 for 3. Now hitting at 411. 410, depending on how you round it.
Will it Brown, did they round up or round down?
Depends if you're home or away. And it's 2-1 to Jeter. There's one of their last remaining single-digit jerseys for the Yankees. You know,
They're all gone.
yeah, the manager. You see the 5 on the patch on the sleeve there. 3's gone, 1's gone, 3's gone, 4's gone, 5's gone, 7's gone, 8's gone, and 9's gone. 2 and 6. Joe Torre wears 6. Derek Jeter wears 2. You know what? You want a single-digit number with the Yanks? Need not apply. That's it. That's all we got. 2 and 6. Full count to Jeter.
See, there you go right there. 2-2 pitch. He throws an 80-mile-an-hour split finger, which is his 4th best pitch, as opposed to just going at him 2-2 with a 4-run lead. You've got to go get people 2-2.
And he lost him. So Jeter is aboard. And we invite you to, when you're at your newsstand, to check out the latest edition of ESPN, the magazine, with Wayne Gretzky on the cover. Story on Derek Jeter inside. That's great reading. Not only is he a budding star, well, he is a star already in baseball, he's a marvelous person. So you can read the story on Jeter and all about Wayne Gretzky and who's better than him in hockey. That's when you're at your newsstand. But the wheels are turning here in Texas as left-hander Eric Gunderson coming in relief when we come back.
Rick, this is Peter Gammons calling you about the letter. I did not have the time or the lack of decency to ask Tony Gwynn to send you the kidney stone he passed in '97. But thanks for reading my column.
Back at Arlington, the Goodyear key plays of the game. Down 4-3 in the 7th. Pinch hitter Roberto Kelly. Base hit. Tie game. Then with the bases loaded, one didn't going Gonzalez, but he put the Rangers up with a 2-run single. Todd Zeile followed with a 2-out, 2-run double, a 5-run 7th against the Yankee bullpen of Stanton and Nelson. And that's where we stand, 8-4. And the new pitcher for the Texas Rangers, one-time hum-baby lefty of Roger Craig with the Giants, Eric Gunderson. 17 hits allowed in 9 innings pitched. That's not a good number. But he's in to get 1 out. That's Paul O'Neill with 2 outs and a runner at first base, Jeter, with a 4-run lead. He's in to face the lefty. And hopefully that, for Johnny Oates' mind, that'll be it.
That's as far as Johnny's thought right now.
The switch hitter Williams next, and another lefty Martinez after that if the Yankees are to get something going.
Well, Gunderson has a real good changeup, can be effective against right-handed hitters. A sweeping, breaking ball, and does about 86, 87 mile-an-hour fastball. A little bit of downward movement into a left-hander, away from a right-hander.
Good pitch to O'Neill. He swings and misses. 1-2.
83-mile-an-hour straight change. If you see him grip it back in his glove, and O'Neill just not recognizing the speed of the pitch because of the arm speed, is out in front of it.
Tim Crabtree, right-hander in the bullpen, loosening up. Outside, 2-2.
Crabtree has done a great job for Johnny Oates. They're using him about every night.
Yeah. Another Toronto. Good pitch. Eight 4. Texas after a 5-run 7th. Yankees trying to scratch back in it if they can. O'Neill to right center field. This could be a tweener. It is a tweener. Jeter's going to be sent around by Willie Randolph. Ball gets away from McLemore, which allows O'Neill to get in a foot race with the baseball. And he wins. It's an 8-5 game with a runner at third. I don't think I've seen that very often. Ball burst man.
I've seen it one other time in Colorado.
Where else?
I'll tell you the story. Paul O'Neill, that's what makes him a great hitter. 2 strikes, left-handed pitcher stays on the ball, drills it to right center field. Roberto makes a decent throw there, but Clayton not in line as the helper. Chris Sabo did that one time, and look, same situation, but the ball outran Chris, and he just ran right onto the third baseman. Third baseman was Charlie Hayes at that time. Charlie catches the ball and just tags Chris.
So now Bernie Williams, and just a little blooper will make it 8-6. Ghosts? What ghosts?
Well, they're relentless. I mean, this New York ball club, they believe they're going to win. They come to the ballpark expecting to win, and they play you 27-out cards. But this Texas team, they've got so much firepower and a much improved bullpen. Much improved bullpen. I think Wise is going to be a big addition out there. Crabtree. Top Zeal coming over last year.
Yeah, he's had the 3 RBIs tonight. Home run, 2-run double. I hope it's not for naught. Bernie Williams to center field. Not quite enough gas. Roberto Kelly went back to the edge of the track. The Yankees pick up 1 to make it interesting at 8-5.
ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball is brought to you by Polaroid. See what develops.
Well, our snapshot here is an 8-5 Texas lead with the Rangers coming to bat in the bottom of the 8th inning. After they broke through for 5 in the bottom half of the 7th against Mike Stanton and Jeff Nelson. And the Yankees will try another reliever, Dan Nick Nolte, late of the Minnesota Twins. We'll try and just keep this a 3-run game and see if the Yankees can come back in the 9th. Or will it be the game that Texas finally beats the New York Yankees?
Nolte just 6 in the 3rd inning, exclusively in relief. 29 years old, graduate of Cerritos Junior College and Cal State Fullerton. Deceptive delivery for a right-hander, 91, 93 mile-an-hour running fastball, and a forkball is his outfit.
The top of the lineup for the Rangers, Roberto Kelly, who is now the center fielder, of course, having pinch hit the last inning for Goodwin. Kelly, McLemore, and Rusty Greer. Coming up, the Blue Jays and the Angels with Carpy and Joe Morgan from the Big E. David Wells pitching for the Blue Jays, so stick around for the second half of our double dip. The Rocket Man, day to day, which of course when you're a starting pitcher isn't as critical as an everyday player. Strained his left hamstring and left that game early yesterday. Be reevaluated tomorrow. It doesn't sound ominous, but they may push him back a couple of days just to be sure. They'll know more tomorrow. Yankees and Rangers are playing the 3rd game of the series tomorrow night here at the ballpark in Arlington. Rocket Man, 50 tickets to his friends from Texas in all 3 of these games.
Talking to a couple of people in the Yankees organization today. Roger's family's here, and he went out to a local amusement park and walked for about 4 hours with his kids. So speculation was that his hamstring is not that bad.
Depends if he went down the water slide. That is 2-1 to Roberto Kelly. Well, it's been a big night for Todd Zeal, who had his 6th home run of the year in the 3rd inning, and then put the icing on the cake to that 5-run 7th with a 2-run, 2-out double. Now, Zeal, we told you, one of 3 Texas Rangers whose names begin with a Z. First team since 1916. Kelly fouls it away. And with Don Zimmer in the park, we figured that this was worth pointing out. That in the park tonight are the number 3 and number 4 all-time home run hitters of everyone in the history of the major leagues whose last name began with a Z. Gus Zernial and Richie Zisk are 1, 2. Zeal and Zim are 3, 4. Yeah, but you didn't know that Zim was 4 on an all-time home run list.
No, I did not.
Neither did he.
Where did you dig that up?
I have this list
of this led us to that. You're unbelievable.
Oh, the draft is over. I can't have time for this now. And he rings Kelly up. A good pitch from Nolte. Kelly thought the call was a little bit Nolte.
Well, he starts the ball on the outside part of the plate. Mentioned the tail there. The ball's a little away, but I'm pretty much done talking about umpires, I think.
What, they going to run you up here?
Oh, you know, it just gets to be old school. You see balls called that just aren't strikes.
Mark McLemore looking for his first hit of the night. He's 0 for 4. Tino Martinez will handle it himself. You know, and seeing Zimmer, with John Wetland up in the bullpen now, seeing also Don Zimmer, who of course is another one of our favorite people all time. He's having the same park tonight. Don Zimmer and Bucky Dent. Zimmer, of course, managed the 78 Red Sox playoff. Dent, home run Yankees off Mike Torres. 5 years later, Dent traded to Texas. Zimmer, a member of the Yankees coaching staff. Zimmer rents Bucky Dent's house in the New York area since Dent doesn't need it. Dent says, Zimmer, I got new white shag carpet. Better not use the tobacco oil. Zimmer said every room he went into, there was a picture of that home run. He turned them all around. First thing he did was he turned them all around. But, you know, he rented his house, so no hard feelings, and there was exchanged pleasantries. One of the most famous days in baseball. The Red Sox falling to Bucky Dent and his home run at Fenway on a Monday afternoon in the 78 playoffs. One-game playoff for the American League East. Rain was I like that story.
I like that story.
Now brought to Martinez. Rusty Greer is gone, and we head to the 9th inning. Can the Texas Rangers finally bust through? The ball will be in the hand of John Wetland to get the job done.
Welcome back, everyone. Padres and the Mets. Mike Piazza 0 for his previous 8. Left 7 on last night. They'll all forget about that after he goes deep. Typical Mike Piazza home run. That gives them a 4-3 victory over the Pods in the 9th. Coming up next, most of you will see David Wells. He'll have to deal with Movan, the Blue Jays, and the Angels on Wednesday Night Baseball. That comes your way next. Stay tuned, everyone.
All right, Carl, thank you. 8-5, the Rangers lead the Yankees here in Arlington, with the fans knowing that in 1996, the first ever trip for the Rangers to the postseason, it was the Yankees who knocked them out 3-1. And the series really could have gone either way. Juan Gonzalez had the 5 home runs to set records, but the Yankees moved on and, of course, won the World Series. Last year, the Rangers get to the playoffs for the 2nd time. And in 2 pitchers duel in New York and that wild rain game here in Texas, which Spencer had a big home run, the Yankees eliminate the Rangers 3-0. They win 2 games in New York earlier this year. They come from behind last night after spotting Texas a 5-0 lead, scoring 2 off old friend John Wetland in the 9th. Look who's on the mound to try. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Wetland with a 3-run lead, trying to nail it down for Texas.
Doesn't happen too often that this man gets beat. There to 6 saves, 9 hits, 9 strikeouts, 4 walks. Comes right at you with a fastball, big curveball, power pitcher.
Swing at the first pitch is Tino Martinez. Back it goes. Back. Gone!
So we put up those numbers again?
See, you know, you've been in that Boston area so long that you think that there's a hit and everything.
Tino Martinez, second home run of the night. Just his third of the year. And they played Please Don't Fear the Reaper when Wetland came in? I think not.
Fastball right down the heart of the plate. That's what he's going to throw you when he's ahead 3 runs. That's one thing that Johnny Wetland has always done, and I think maybe has been, I mean, he's been a great closer, but one thing that he always tries to do is come in and get right ahead of you. And with a 3-run lead, he's not going to try to walk anybody. This year, 4 walks. Never been a guy that has walked very many people. But he's going to come right at you and throw his best stuff and say, you get me or I'm going to get you. And last night they got him, and they're still getting him.
Chili Davis, third on the all-time switch hitting list for home runs. Mantle, Murray, Chili.
Where's Reggie Smith in that area?
Reggie is 4th, I think. Chili had the sacrifice fly last night that won it in the top of the 9th off Wetland. He fouls this away. Reggie Smith is 4, Bonilla is 5 on that list. Chili has 336 home runs, and there's your list.
Pretty strong company.
He's got 10 games in which he's hit homers from both sides of the plate. Only Murray is more with 11, but none of that matters right now. The Yankees have clawed to within 2 at 8-6. Wetland ahead of Chili Davis, 1 and 2. Wetland, who recorded the final out when the Yankees won the World Series in '96 for the Yankees, came to Texas after that.
John has moved up to 13th on the all-time save list with 257 saves, passing Todd Worrell just ahead Aguilera and Jones and Montgomery.
Check swing by Chili, just foul. Ghosts? What ghosts?
Over the last 7 years, as we check this replay here of this fastball. What, bud?
Just didn't miss by that much, Ray.
No, it didn't. About 4 feet.
Yeah, it's a curve at the end. All right, that was safely foul, right?
About 4 feet.
Chili is 1 for 3, singled and scored in 6. The Yankees led it 1-0, led it 4-1. Now they're trying to battle back. Behind third, Zeal and Clayton over. Zeal has ruled 1 out. So Chili is gone, and that'll bring up Jorge Posada.
All fastballs, fastball up, fouls it off. Todd Zeal right there within 1 step of going into the stands. Fans smartly leave the ball alone.
Would probably just say, hey, you got a lot of room.
You're all right. You're all right.
Jorge Posada. Great thing about April is you can get 1 home run and raise your average about 20 points, as he did. And Posada homered a 2-run shot in the 5th inning. Posada, then Chad Curtis.
Show you how few saves Johnny Wetland blows in the 90s, from 92 to 98, through last year's season. Only Randy Myers has a better save percentage. Johnny saving 85%, 252 of the 298 games that he's entered. That's pretty strong.
And a reliever of his magnitude, he just has to block out what happened last night totally.
And he does. And he does. You live day to day as a closer.
So Howie's going to live to face the tying run here in the top of the 9th inning. Jorge Posada, who came into the game hitting barely above the interstate at 129, has his second hit of the night. And Chad Curtis will step up the potential tying run. Now these guys do not go quietly, Ray. Curtis homered last night in the Yankee 7-6 lead. Chad is 1 for 3. Singleton scored in the 5th. Blew the fastball by him, did Wetland, strike 1.
The only left-hander that the Yankees have on the bench is Ricky Ledee. You say it Ledee or Ledee?
Ledee.
Ledee?
You say Ledee, I say Ledee. Tomato, tomato. Say it any way you want. Yes, you hang around it, you home, or away. Pull the chain on that one. Curtis wasn't nibbling, 1-1. The only man without a hit tonight for the Yankees. Now 2. Now blocked to lead off, and Bernie Williams goes before everybody else has gotten a safety. The Yankees have 10 hits, the Rangers have 12. This game started out like we were double parked outside the stadium. We went through about 4 innings in about an hour. But then the bats got going 14 runs later. Here we are as Wetland gets the strike on this pitch, Ray.
This is a borderline pitch there. Ball, certainly Curtis thinks it's down.
Posada, the runner at first, moves well for a catcher. Struck him out. 2 down in the Yankee 9th.
Hard slider here. 85-mile-an-hour slider from John Wetland. Featuring mainly fastballs and curveballs. Come back with a hard slider. And there, Curtis loses his handle of the bat.
Luis Sojo due up, but it looks like we will have a pinch hitter. And you get to pronounce it, Ray.
Ricky Ledee.
Will it be a hard Ledee's night? Or will it be
Good day.
good day?
Good day, huh?
Green Ledee? You rocking it? Will it be happy Ledee or a hard Ledee's night? Ricky Ledee, one of the World Series heroes. He really pulverized Padres pitching, but has done none of that this spring and in April. Hence the job in left field, which they kind of wanted him to win. I didn't want him to, but thought he would. He's yet to emerge.
They put it out there for him. You're right.
Well, this game is out there for him. With Posada at first, 8-6 Yankee lead, 2 out. Ledee batting for Sojo with Knobloch on deck and strike 1. Some of the Ranger faithful starting to get on their feet. I know it's April, but enough already for these Yankees, they're saying.
Stevens right on the line at first base, guarding it for no double. Will shading the line at third. Outfield very deep. Greer only about 5 steps from the warning track in left field.
There's a pretty good gap in right center field as the center fielder Kelly is shaded to the left. Don't think he can get around on Wetland. That's the gamble as Wetland misses ball 2.
Well, 2 balls and no strikes, I guarantee you can get around on him. 2 balls and 1 strike. What is...
Hit well to left field, but right at Rusty Greer. And a sigh of elation and a sigh of relief from the Ranger fans. Texas has beaten the Yankees, snapping a 6-game losing streak to the Pinstripers. The Rangers come from 3 runs down to win it 8-6. A reminder that Toronto and Anaheim with Bob Carpenter and Joe Morgan coming up next. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com. For Ray Knight and all of us here in Texas, I'm Chris Berman. Thanks for watching. It was fun. More baseball coming up from Anaheim.